Okay. Okay. All right. So what I was going to say is that this is the third rendition of this event. I've invited my students. We have students who are coming in from Dillard and students who oh, Dillard makes some noise. Yes, yes, yes. And we have students that are also coming in from Suno as well. And so, woo, woo, woo. All right, make your noise. So, we wanted for this to be a cross or inter HBCU dialogue with students about youth civic participation. And the way that we wound up having this event is that we were reacting to the last election cycle where there was low voter participation, dare we say a Republican landslide that took place. And we wanted to know, why is it that more of our Democrats and registered Democrats didn't come out to vote? And from us having the conversation on the air, people then asked, well, Dr. Shepard, what about your students? What do they think about politics? Did they come out to vote? And so we held the first one just to have a conversation with students to figure out, well, how do you all feel about the voting process? We have a inflammatory title, Why Don't Young People Vote, as a way of maybe getting some people to be riled up about the issue, to make them mad. Okay, so we had the first conversation already. We did it again, and we invited everyone out from Dillard and Suno to have this conversation as well. We had other elected officials on the panel, and we thought about how we wanted to be able to structure it a little bit differently. And so now we have students who are also student leaders who are also on the panel. And so we are happy that you all came here with us, especially right before the election, to again be able to talk about this discussion. We would also like for it to be able to build over time. So there are times where I might reference what we've talked about before, just to be able to help us to continue to build. And we would like to see something come out of this conversation, not just talking about it, but being about it, action, organizing, and mobilizing. Okay, so with that being said, thank you all for joining us, and everybody give yourselves one more hand, one round of applause. All right, thank you. Okay, so as we go down the panel, can I allow them to introduce themselves? Okay, so yes, please grab the mic in front of you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kayla Lumar. Hi, my name is Kayla Lumar. I'm a current Xavier student. I'm a junior at Xavier. I'm on the Pre-Law Society, and I'm currently in the works of developing another organization that's catered towards social justice. So Dr. Shepard invited me here today, and I'm happy to talk to you all today about voting.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Troy Carter, proudly representing Louisiana's 2nd Congressional District as your congressional representative in Washington, a proud graduate of Xavier University, class of 1986. Most of you weren't born. Class of 1986, the son of a graduate of Xavier University, the father of a graduate of Xavier University, the uncle and brother of individuals that have graduated from this great institution. And I also am a professor here in the Department of Political Science, teaching American politics, presidency, and the Congress. And I'm honored to be here with you, beautiful, bright students from Dillard, Xavier, Southern universities. Honored to be here with you this morning.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am State Rep. I'll start over. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative Delisha Boyd, representing the District of 102, which is all of Algiers. Also attended Xavier fall of 86 through 1990, attended SUNO. So I'm looking forward. Um, we're glad to be here.
Good afternoon, everyone. It may be a little cloudy outside, but looking around this room, and I'm excited we're going to bring a lot of light in this room today. I'm Dr. Sayon Quiet Smith, and I'm proud to bring you greetings from the Jewel of Gentilly, Dillard University. I'm to you. I'm excited to share with you today on this very, very important topic. So I look forward to the engagement.
Hi everyone, my name is Amaya Sade Boyd, so depending where you know me from, it depends on what name you didn't heard. I'm the president of Xavier's chapter of NAACP, and I'm excited to be here and have this conversation with you all, as our mission is to always, engage, mobilize, educate, and register students to vote. So I'm excited to have the conversation with you guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Raymond Delaney, Associate Professor of Criminal Justice at Southern University at New Orleans, and also an adjunct professor at Dillard University. I see the beautiful students out there. I'm here just to represent as a Democratic Parish Executive Committee member of Jefferson Parish, and also to piggyback on the last session we had, which we learned a lot of information from the youth, and I was able to share that information with those who may not understand you all. So we ask that you be raw and uncut with us and let us know what we need to know so that we can carry that message forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Nziki Wiltz. I am a former school teacher. I taught in Orleans Parish for 25 years, and now I am currently working for Voters Organized to Educate, and I'm here to mobilize, educate, share, as well as listen. I was on the panel last year, and just honored to be here again. Thanks for having me.
Okay, yes. Everybody, please give them a warm round of applause. Okay, we thank the panelists for being here to have this rigorous conversation with us. So, as I said, this event has been put together because we are reacting to the fact that we just completed an election cycle where we had very low voter turnout in all categories, even registered Democratic voters. In the city of New Orleans, was it less than 13%?
I think the number was 14%.
14% of registered Democrats in New Orleans came out. And the way that I've been talking to my students is that as a result, we wound up with a very conservative Republican governor. And we had the ability to elect Sean Wilson. There was a lot of things that was happening that weekend. People were leaving to go out of town for different homecomings and just did not wind up putting in their absentee ballots or whatever it was that took place. We did not wind up with a large turnout. Now, some of you may have been students during this time because it was just last year. So the question would be, thinking about where you were in 2023, okay, why didn't we have a large voter turnout? Did you vote? Did you feel like you had the information, the ability? I would like to be able to just throw the question out and get some responses from students in the audience, and then we could also ask the two students on the panel as well. So the question is, why don't young people vote? And please say your name and your year. Present your stuff and say your major if you want to.
My name is Darion Dawson. I'm a computer science major here at Xavier. And I'm not sure for majority of the groups, but my personal excuse would be I'm not from Louisiana, but actually I'm from California. So that would be like my main argument on why I don't vote on politics from here.
Okay, now we got some. Okay, but okay, let's go ahead and hear more people. Is there consensus across the room? Do you all not vote here?
He's not from here.
Oh, he said because he's from California, he's not from here. So, okay. Okay, go ahead.
And that's an incredibly valid point, brother. But what we've got to do is, and that's a part perhaps we all have to take some responsibility, because we've got to do a better job at letting students know that when you're away at college, whether it's 4 years, law school, medical school, whatever, you still have the opportunity, and we should make it easier to get voting ballots that you can mail in to vote in your home district. Or the other option is, if you're going to be in the area for 4 years, then you may want to switch your registration to that area, because that's where your policies and the things that are happening are going to impact you even for that period of time. So you can transfer your registration so you can vote here in New Orleans while you're at Xavier, or you have the option to vote back home in California. And so one of the things that we should, Dr. Shepard, you said you wanted this to come away with some actionable items.
Yes.
This should be at the top of that. One of the actionable items is to make sure that we have access and availability and ease of access for students to get mail ballots to mail back in their home jurisdictions or outside. OBDEC is set up, the Orleans Parish Democratic Executive Committee is set up right now to do registrations that you can do while you're here at Xavier to vote in this district, and then when you go home or you go wherever your next professional career may lead you, you can then vote there. But that's a very valid point. I'm glad that came up at the very beginning of the discussion, because that's an impediment that I think we can fix pretty easily.
Yes.
Thank you, brother.
Representative Boyd, go ahead.
We need you guys to vote is because this past session, we passed a bill, and I'm saying we, I'm part of the House of Representatives, that actually challenges people's ability to be able to, you can't hear me? That actually challenges our ability to vote absentee. Sorry about that. So I was saying a huge part of why it's important for you to vote is because we passed the bill this past session that actually challenges us or infringes on our right to vote via absentee ballots. The only way to change that is to change the faces of those that are making the decisions. It flew out. We all the Dems challenged it in committee and on the floor in both the House and Senate, and it still passed. So now, absentee ballots, you can only witness one ballot. We are only allowed to witness one ballot outside of our immediate family, which means your husband, wife, and children. So we want to focus on having more of us voting and having more of us running for office as well.
I'd like to also echo that point to the gentleman who brought it up from California. Everyone take a moment, right? If you're not from Louisiana, Louisiana's changes that Representative Boyd just outlined for you, it's happening in several other states. So if you're from Georgia, look and see what the changes are. Florida, Arizona, Washington, D.C. There's been a wave of subtle changes taking place across the country targeting absentee voting and the rules that govern it. So please make sure here, but also for those like our gentleman who's from California, and if you want to vote in your home state, take a moment and find out about the voting processes in your state.
Okay, we have to literally and we're going to go to a commercial break on the radio, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the continue answering the question of why don't young people vote. So my people on the radio, y'all stay tuned. We're going to head to break.
Find us online. Did you know that you can now listen to your favorite show whenever you want? How? Just go to www.wbok1230.com. Click on the Talk tab and select your favorite show. There you'll see your favorite host and the show from each day. And be sure to follow us on Facebook at WBOK 1230 AM, Instagram at WBOK.1230, and TikTok at WBOK 1230 AM.
New Orleans, this is Jamar McNeely, Chief Executive Officer of Spinola Charter Schools. I'm excited to invite you to an incredible event you don't want to miss. the NOLA Love, Inspiration, Advocacy Rally featuring legendary Bishop T.D. Jakes. Join us on September 6th at 10 a.m. at Xavier's Convocation Center as we come together to uplift our community, inspire change, and advocate for the future of our youth. This is your chance to be a part of something truly powerful. RSVP now at inspirenola.schools.org. We'll see you there.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hey, have you heard the news? First Pilgrims Baptist Church is now on WBOK 1230 a.m. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. to hear Pastor Eugene Mitchell give you the inspiration you need for the week ahead. That's every Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Only on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon to What's Growing New Orleans. Hosted by Angel Vanderpool, What's Growing New Orleans is a weekly conversation about developing and growing Black businesses throughout the region. Brought to you by the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce.
This is Andronika Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The Reality Check. WBOK 1230 AM.
Back. We're back. Okay, so we were just beginning this really good conversation about why it is that young people do not vote. And we had some more young people who wanted to weigh in on it. Ma'am, could you come this way? And could you give us your answer as to why it is that you think that young people do not vote?
First of all, y'all, I didn't know I was going to have to come up here and stand in front of y'all. But good afternoon. My name is Gabrielle Clay. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm a current freshman at Xavier University, and I am a bio pre-med major. And to answer the question, I actually have two answers. Last year around this time, I was actually a senior in high school, so I wasn't able to actually vote. But now that I have recently registered to vote, I can honestly say that I feel very uneducated on the candidates as far as what they're going to do or what they have done or what's their plan on actually being in the position, if that makes sense. And it's also kind of discouraging because I feel like these are the same events that have occurred over and over again, as far as with civil rights and trying to get young people to vote and trying to get an understanding of what we want or what we don't want. So it's kind of discouraging and it's confusing at the same time. I hope that made sense. But yeah, that was my answer to the question.
Thank you for that. Our representative from Vote, can you talk a little bit about the app that has been presented to help people to understand more around the voting process? We talked about that the last time we had this forum.
You should go on. It's called a Go Vote app. go on, download the app. When you go on the app, they have the different links, of course, that can lead you to becoming a registered voter. Those are the questions that's asked. If you want to know the officials, if you want to know those that's running, of course, in office, who are your representatives, what district you're in, that app can bring you to all of those sites and could just lead you and guide you to some of the unanswered questions. So that app is called Go Vote. I encourage you to download it.
G-E-A-U-X.
That's what I was going to say.
G-E-A-U-X. Just log on. And you could get some of those questions answered that you may have, especially as it relates to you as an individual. If I go on that app, it would tell me my district, who's my representatives, who's running for office, and on and on. So I do encourage you all to download the app. And if I could be of any assistance, I'll hang around so I can make sure that you are doing it correctly. I also, can I have the floor just for a second? Because I want to go back on that question, not to go back, but I just feel the need that I want to share the question that was asked. Well, the question that the young man in the back, he stated that one of his personal reasons for not voting, of course, here in Louisiana is because he is not from here. Well, I would encourage those that here, and a lot of you that plan to stay here, to change your voter registration to Louisiana. Just talking with students in the past, it's difficult, and I'm getting this from them. I was told by the students that it's difficult to go through the whole process, being in school, to they do the mail-in ballots, right? The absentee ballots. It may not come. They don't get it in time. It's usually during midterm. So all of those things can take place, and it hinders you from voting. So if I was here, and this is just a suggestion, but I would make sure that I'm voting where my money at, where my school at, and point to, Louisiana. And that's a personal choice, a personal option, but it is something to consider.
So making sure that students actually invest in the place that they're going to spend the next 4 years of their life.
A lot of the students stay here in Louisiana.
Okay.
Just consider.
All right. Thank you so much. So that information helps us to be able to make sure that the actual process is not as mysterious for us, right? So it helps to provide some clarity. Now, the second part of the young lady's question is a little bit deeper, right? She said it feels as though we are fighting for the same thing over and over again, and that is discouraging. Would anyone like to speak to that?
As a young person who strongly believes in voting, I can understand that sentiment because I recognize that as a Louisiana native, I've lived here my whole life, and I live in a fairly red state. It feels as though my vote doesn't matter or that I'm not making change, but I recognize that not participating in the system allows it to have its way with whoever it wants. And I know that although these changes might feel small, it may not feel like you're making much of a difference. Having revolutionary change doesn't happen overnight, and your vote does matter. It does count. And if we really look at it, like, for instance, the 13% of Democratic vote or 14% voting in the election for governor greatly impacted who we have making policies today. So recognize that your voice does matter, and that although the next person in office may not be the best candidate or may not represent your values entirely, its progress changes people's lives significantly.
I'll piggyback on that briefly so we have more time for questions. She's absolutely right, and you're absolutely right. It appears that we're still fighting for the same things. We've been fighting for equal pay for seems forever. We've been fighting for the right to vote, seems like forever. We've been fighting for anti-discrimination practice, seems like forever. But the battle never ends. If we had stopped when the freedom fighters were on this campus, where would we be today? They gave their lives, and now they pass the baton on. And then the next generation does its thing, and it passes its baton on. Some of those progresses have been made. Some still have yet to be made, but we can never get weary. We can never stop, and we can never allow ourselves to be frustrated, or at least use the frustration to get better. use the frustration to push ourselves forward. Use the frustration to make us better and stronger, because at the end of the day, you have the power. The power is ours. There's some who would try to discourage us into believing we don't have the power, to believe your vote doesn't matter. There's some that would try to say, you're in college for 4 years, don't worry about voting. Go on and enjoy your life. No, part of enjoying your life is civic engagement. A part of being in college is being organized. Part of being in college is what you're doing right now. So use that frustration of the repetitive action of fighting and fighting and fighting in appearing that we're not getting anywhere. Look backwards. We're getting somewhere. It may be a slow roll, but the only way to guarantee we don't get anywhere is to stop.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, I see your hand. We had another young lady who was going to say a little bit more about the voting process and how it is that some young people don't vote. Okay, everybody, please give her a hand. Okay, say your name, your major.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kristen Poche. I'm a New Orleans native from the 7th Ward, and I'm a sophomore healthcare management student here at Xavier University of Louisiana. Growing up in the city, I truly feel that young people don't vote because I don't think it's like really like drilled into our heads here. Like, I know my mom's generation, like the millennials here, a lot of them don't vote. I don't know anybody in my family that was like wearing the voting stickers, like, oh, I'm going to vote. Like, when you turn 18, go vote. It was mostly like my grandmother encouraging me to vote, which I'll be voting for the first time when the presidential election comes around. But, yeah, I also think that kind of goes into the culture of crime here within the young people in the city of New Orleans. I truly think it's like parenting, and I feel like also a lack of care. I think it's also a lack of care. I feel like Katrina really did take a lot of our hope away as a city, and I think we need to get that back. So, yeah.
Very good.
Okay, thank you so much. We have another student who wants to come up. Okay, the impact of Hurricane Katrina cannot be understated, and I wish that we had more city councilmen who could speak to that this time. But yes, young lady, go ahead, tell us your name, your year, and why is it that young people don't vote, especially thinking about last year maybe.
Okay, so my name's Mariah. I'm actually from Houston. My major is bio-pre-med, and I'm a freshman. I don't really know much about voting, but from what I do know, I feel like the young vote, our vote is always seen as kind of like an afterthought. I don't think we're really prioritizing what we feel is important, like to our communities. So I feel like politicians and people who want us to vote for them, they only come to us, I guess, after they did what they, I don't know, like they...
What's important to you?
The environment. I think we need to do something about it. I think climate change is getting out of control. And I don't know. I just feel like politicians don't really reach out to us as much.
Because he talks about climate control all the time. So do we. We have a hard fight with climate control, just like with everything else, because the Republicans don't necessarily see it that way, which is why it's important to hear your voice on that, which is why it's important for you to participate in voting. So he has help on the federal level. I have help on the state level, because climate control is real. Mm-hmm. We know it. We live it. We believe it. But when we are the minority voting power, they get what they want.
That's true. And I think another thing, like reaching out to us. Everybody's on TikTok. Like, get on TikTok. Make a TikTok. Like, if you engage with us, we will engage with you. Like, I know y'all see all those kids up there in like Columbia and all that, doing all this protesting for the wars and stuff. Like, if we really feel some way about it, we're gonna go out and make a difference. I just feel like we need to be reached more. That's my personal opinion.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Hopefully we see this event is kind of like some of that reaching, the dialogue building, to make sure that people understand. And I said this to my students, but every time that we come off the radio with one of these, the reception from people is that they didn't know young people were thinking this. And how is it that we can make sure that we organize and like use leverage and reach out and look at, just in the amount of times that we've done this, how many officials have come out to speak and to build and understand and know. And I think we have to do more mobilization. This is not me saying that we don't need more work, but this is to say, like, recognize what it is that we've done so far.
I got a question for the panel, and the panel is, and this is what I'm picking up out of the conversation from our young folks, because the young lady that just left, you said something that was very pertinent to the question I'm getting ready to ask the panel, and that was, she said, I really don't understand the importance of it. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question would be to the panel, as the elders, as the parents, did we do a bad job with trying to teach? Because our parents taught us, and they take you to the polls. They take you in that booth and let you see what the process is. So did we miss out on doing some of that? I don't know who want to start.
I would say that it's different now that we've kind of moved away from it. My daughter has never missed an election because I live with my grandparents who took me to the polls. My grandmother was a block captain, so I saw it firsthand and then passed that on to my daughter. But I think what it is that we are in a place where we think things are better than what they really are because of what happened in the 60s, not understanding that little by little they're bringing us back. Little by little, every session they're bringing us back to where we were. And so now we have to go old school. I'm not afraid to go old school. I'm not afraid to have block captains. I'm not afraid to say bring it back to the black churches again. I'm not afraid to go knock on doors. We almost have to repeat the blueprint from the 60s again. Because every session, this young lady next to me said we're in a red state. Actually, we're not. We have more registered Dems here. We are a red state by choice, right? So if we get more involved and start knocking on doors and be your own block captain, don't look for somebody else to be it. If you are engaged and you feel like we're singing to the choir, then you be the block captain. You bring it to your church. Last night, Congressman Carter made a comment about taking your choir voices someplace else. If we sing into the choir, then take your voice and sing in your neighborhood, if that makes sense. We all now have to participate the way that they did in the 60s. We know how to do it because it's been done already.
Big props to Congressman Carter on last night. If you all didn't get a chance and didn't understand what they're talking about, what Representative Boyd is talking about, actually had a conversation at SUNO. And how many are aware of Project 2025? That conversation last night enlightened a lot of folks. And I got to say, we need to have more folks and the OBDEC folks to get together and make sure that we all understand, because there was a part that really affects education, and that was with the grants, with the funding.
You can go in almost any direction. Project 2025 is a concoction by the Heritage Foundation and former President Trump to essentially dismantle our democracy, to repeal your rights. The young lady who mentioned her interest in the environment. Well, I have brought millions of dollars back to Louisiana to push back against environmental injustice. It's been one of my major battles. I represent the river parishes where there's a conglomeration of petrochemical plants that historically set themselves up in minority communities. And under the Inflation Reduction Act, we brought more money back to Louisiana for pushing back against environmental injustice than ever before in the history of the EPA. Under Project 2025, there is a part of that is to get rid of EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, to make a system that is easier and better for polluters to pollute our air and our water. So I can go down the line and I can talk about reproductive freedoms. I can talk about getting rid of the Department of Education. I can talk about getting rid of EPA. I can talk about what it does to our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. I can talk about all of the things it attempts to do, and at the core of it, what it does is it attacks your rights as citizens. It takes away the rule of law. It takes away the use of our Constitution, and it also seeks to reverse history, to take books out of libraries, to act as if somehow history didn't happen. Well, history did happen, and you can't do anything about what happened before. And this notion that slavery was a bona fide jobs program and that black folk gained something from slavery, no, we didn't gain a thing from it. And if you don't like what slavery did, do better going forward.
Come on
That's
now.
the only way to fix it. You can't do anything about what happened. And so the antidote to Project 2025, as I said last night, is Project 2024. And it's called vote.
Okay.
Get out and vote.
Okay.
Okay, so I
Dr. Shepard, if I could add to that too, I'm gonna tie this into something Congressman Carter said earlier about if you're going to be here for 4 years, if you're going to law school here, if you're going to med school here, voting and changing your registration to vote here, because we're living the blueprint of Project 2025 right here in Louisiana now. I wasn't able to get equal pay for women out of committee this session. I wasn't able to raise the minimum wage. I carried all these bills. The exception for rape and incest died. We have a governor right now that is already implementing Project 2025 right here in Louisiana. So you're here. The things that are important to you, we're fighting for, I promise you, every single day here.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to bring one point to bring it home just a little bit to the points of, we're fighting for the same things, to the point, and the line item of things that Congressman Carter said he's doing and Representative Boyd. They didn't just walk onto the floor and say, I'm going to make myself a congressman and I'm going to do this. No. Voted for, right? Took that vote, that one vote. How many of you heard of the Morrill Act? Right? So there was a Morrill Act sponsored by a congressman. I'm not going to go spend too much time on it. But in 1862, this congressman sponsored this Morrill Act that gave free land to create state schools for agricultural and mechanical purposes. Who were the benefactors? Cornell, MIT, University of Wisconsin. Our folks say that's not enough. Black farmers in the South, workers, parents, children said, no, we want an education and we should have that. They spoke up. No technology. So what happened in 1890? We got Southern University, Agricultural and Mechanical College, FAM, that we cheer for, have all of our homecoming things for. But the sea of change that had to happen amongst us to make that happen, if we had not, if we sat home, there would be no big boom bam from Southern's band that we love. There wouldn't be, right? We wouldn't have our state schools, right? Xavier and Dillard, private, same struggles. But let's bring it home and think. If we sat home and we didn't, wouldn't have Southern. One man stood up and said, a senator from Vermont, it would be an economic absurdity to educate the descendants of enslaved people over poor whites on the floor of the Senate. Your vote counts.
Okay, so that's that. Your vote counts. We're gonna leave it right there. Head in for this break, and then when we come back, we still have a few other students who want to add their answers to why don't young people vote.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tony Flowers, Chief Diversity and Social Responsibility Officer at LCMC Health, and I want to bring you 5 tips to know for a great medical appointment. Number 1, know your questions. Make a short list of your most important questions and bring that with you to your appointment. Number 2, know what's being said. Ask your provider to speak in plain language, not those big long terms. Number 3, know the wellness plan. Ask your provider to explain the plan for your care in 3 simple steps. Number 4, know why the plan is important. Ask your provider to explain what will happen if you forget to follow the plan. And number 5, know your medications. Ask these questions to understand your medication. Why am I taking this? How will it help my condition? What time should I take it? What will happen if I miss a dose? We want you to build a great partnership with your providers and be in the know about your health. This is brought to you through a partnership of LCMC Health and the New Orleans Health Department. Be in the know.
Discover the Leah Chase School, NOLA Public School's first new direct-run traditional public school in nearly 2 decades. We offer excellence in math, science, English, and social studies, focusing on unlocking every child's potential. Every scholar receives a personal device, regular assessments, clear family communication, as well as transportation services in a nurturing, arts-inclusive environment. Secure your child's K through 5th grade slot today. Apply at enrollnolaps.com and embark upon a unique educational journey.
It's no secret that in New Orleans, we love good food just as much as we love our community. So why not make groceries while supporting local food producers too? Crescent City Farmers Market hosts year-round, rain or shine, where you can buy the region's freshest in-season produce, dairy, meat, seafood, and more. Using SNAP benefits at our market is easy, and with Market Match, you can double your dollars. Yes, that's right. Swipe your EBT card and we'll match every SNAP dollar, doubling your grocery budget so you can purchase more fresh fruits, vegetables, and food-bearing plants. Check us out on social media and visit us at marketumbrella.org for dates and locations. See you at the market.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, an on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Hello, I am Bishop Fred A. Caldwell Sr., host of the Know Your Bible International radio broadcast, which is heard here on WBOK 1230 a.m. each Sunday morning at 8 o'clock a.m. So join me here for a blessing, won't you?
The Reality Check, WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. If we sound a little different to our audience on the radio, and if you're looking at us on Facebook, you are definitely seeing a whole bunch of important people sitting at the desk, and we've got a whole big old crowd of very engaged young folks, even some of the older folks. I call them young too, so they can appreciate that. Y'all give yourselves a round of applause. Let them know you in here. That was it? Wait a minute, let me do that again. Let them know you in here. All right, that's a whole lot better. This young lady, they do have questions.
All right, say your name, your year, your major. Okay, what you got?
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Paris Lofton. I am a New Orleans native, and I am biology pre-med, class of 2027. So the main question we all know is, why don't young people vote? And my answer to that is, we don't have enough difficult conversations, I feel like, okay? You know, people like one of my classmates brought up, like using TikTok and stuff like that. Yeah, we could talk about all these trends and all this stuff that go on, but we don't never have actual sit downs and talk about stuff that's going on around us. Like one of my friends, she didn't even know about the new gun law that you don't even have to have a permit no more. She didn't know about that. And if she wouldn't have had that discussion with me, she probably would have never knew. So I feel like other than like this one time where everybody in here discussing about these changes, we need to have it more often. Because if we don't talk about it enough, ain't nobody going to come and show up if we're not talking about it enough. Because if we're not talking about it enough, then why would we come and vote? That's my answer to that question.
And I completely agree with you. And so for me, as being a student leader and being, Oh, I'm so sorry. My name is Sade. I am the NAACP president at Xavier. Right. And so for me, being in this position, I was vice president last year. And for us, we were like, what do we do to play into the why don't young people vote conversation? So first we started trying to figure out why don't we vote. Okay, it's because we don't have the knowledge. Well, that was one of our main reasons. We don't have the knowledge. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm political action chair. We need to have political knowledge panels. And these are just real conversations that we're having with people who are knowledgeable on different topics about voting, about elections, about what's on the ballot. And what we also realize is young people, first time voting, we ain't even never seen no ballot before. So what are you telling me to click something on the ballot before? Like, I've never had to do that. So why would you expect me to just go in there for the first time and know how to do that?
I have a question.
Huh?
I have a question for
Yeah, what's your question?
As that person, I like you too. You know, she's like, what's your question? As the president of the student NAACP, it would then be your responsibility to also put out a plan for how do you engage a university crowd that may not be really engaging in that process. Because if they're not engaging in it now, then what would be your process? What would be how you get them engaged?
Right. And so for this election year, we've decided to go with everybody's terms of registering, educating, and mobilizing. And so for us, we're having a few voter registration drives at the beginning of the year. We've had 2 so far, so if you've gotten registered through those, kudos to you. And we're the only organization on campus as well, because as of August 1st, it was passed that you can't have a paper voter registration packet without being registered with the Secretary of State. And that became a big issue for people, because for college students, we need a paper voter registration packet because we're not from Louisiana. Well, a lot of us are not from Louisiana, and so we can't do the online registration. And so I said, okay, NAACP is going to be registered with the Secretary of State if nobody else is. And so I went and I registered us with the Secretary of State and registered any voter registration drive we plan to have with them as well. And so by doing that, we now are able to have paper voter registration packets as long as we're there. So that was thing 1. So now we are able to register, right? And then we were like, okay, educate. So we're going to continue those political knowledge panels. We're going to continue having these conversations. We're going to continue having voters rallies that X marks the ballot, and do the debate watch party so we can watch the debate together and make sure that people understand the lingo that's being used. We're going to continue just having those conversations in spaces where students are, and they don't feel like overwhelmed with the information that they are getting. You know what I'm saying? Because legal information can be overwhelming. It can be hard. It can make you feel intimidated, and then you'll be like, okay, I'm not doing this no more. Because that's real easy to say, and for me as a political science major, that's not necessarily my stance. But knowing that most Xavier is natural sciences, hard sciences, they don't hear that political information, like political words and political lingo on a daily basis. And so having those conversations, what does that mean? Like, what are they telling me? Because if they tell me an amendment is saying one thing and I read it one way, and then it's like, oh, I don't know what they're talking about, then I'm selecting the wrong thing. I'm voting the wrong way when my stance is something completely different. So that's the education aspect. And then mobilize. Bike and Vote is our biggest partner there. Like, we first can make sure that we get with Bike and Vote during the early voting stage, so we can get as many of our students out there as possible then. But then, now that we did that for early voting, we know that by the time it's actually time to vote, this is the time to get your ballot in if you haven't yet. Then we know the students who are still needing help with that. We can carpool, we can get each other there, and whatever the case may be. So that is currently what our civic engagement plan looks like, and that is how we have been handling it thus far.
Oh, thank you for that. Also, we should make sure we say we have a voters registration table outside of the doors. So if you're not registered, we have the ability to register you here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take this student comment, and then after that we have a comment from a professor here as well. So go ahead. What's your name again? Your major?
But I actually have a question for Congressman and Senator. So I wanted to see if you guys could explain the whole thing about how, I guess, the bill that was passed on how you can't have somebody help you register to vote anymore. To me, that's kind of like a form of voter suppression, because
it absolutely is.
You know, like our NAACP president said, we're young, we don't know, we need help, we need somebody to help us come do that.
So the bills that were passed here regarding voter registration, let me tell you, you have to register every drive.
Every single one.
If they give you 100 ballots for your drive on Monday and you have 50 left, you cannot then go Wednesday and use it. You have to register the drive on Wednesday as well. It is absolutely voter suppression. That's the reason for it. Our biggest demographic of voters is 55 plus. So if you have now a nursing home facility with 20 or 30 people in it, that aide that would help them with their absentee ballots can't witness all those ballots anymore. She can only witness one ballot. And then I want to kind of go back to something that our young soldier over here mentioned Also, connecting with our college students so you'll know that the things that that interest you the most are what we're fighting for right now. It's not like our stuff and your stuff. I promise you. Congressman Carter's focus is mental health, reproductive rights, all those things, raising the minimum wage here. That's my fight here. I run the bills for exception for rape and incest. I run equal pay for women. So the things that you're concerned about, climate control, I promise you it's not a theirs versus them. We're all in this battle together. So we need your voices just as much as we need the 55 plus, if not more.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. You can come this way. Okay, we're going to have a comment from Dr. Rashid Atwater and then another comment from some more of our students. We got a line going up. I saw we had a student hand over there as well. We got to make sure we hit them. Okay, so go ahead, Dr. Atwater. What's your department? I mean, rep your stuff, you know what I mean? Because I'm part of it.
Yeah,
so.
make sure you rep right.
Sure,
make sure you rep right.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Rashid Atwater. That's probably my wife calling me now. I am a professor of African American Diaspora Studies at Xavier University. We are in our second year at this university. Yay, we clapped, but it took us 98 years to get it. So there's a thing. So I have.
Hold on, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Dr. Atwater. I don't think you finished your accolades.
No, it's fine. We can talk about that later. I'm just a brother. 2 questions.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you mention NAACP while you were up there?
Also the faculty advisor for the NAACP. So this is one of my students, as well as the African American Diaspora Club. So you'll see those students, temple, all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that. That's not important. So the question that I had, or one of the questions that I had, what specific things are being proposed, or are you all proposing, that will assist black communities specifically?
I can go in a whole bunch of different directions. I mean, I just last week announced $4 million to build a swimming pool in the lower coast of Algiers, a community that's never had a swimming pool before. A community I grew up in, and we swam in the river. As dangerous as that is, because we had nothing else to do. We turned on the fire plug because we had nothing else to do. We were able to create partnerships with organizations to teach young people how to swim in impoverished areas. Why are the numbers rather so large in African American communities of people who can't swim? Because we haven't had access to recreational swimming pools. So we've appropriated monies to put swimming pools in impoverished communities. We've spent more money in the last 2 years on environmental injustice in the billions of dollars to push back against polluters, violators of industrial waste, to make sure that communities are being given the opportunity to breathe clean air and drink clean water. We pushed back when I brought $7.1 million to, or $71 million rather, to the state of Louisiana for summer EBT to feed poor children in the summer months when they're not in school, because we know many children will not have access to food or nutritional food in the summertime, because unfortunately many of our young people only get access to that meal at school. Mom and dad's working. It's hard. And it's hard to raise a kid. That school lunch becomes very important. We fought to bring $71 million to the state of Louisiana. The governor pushed back and said, no, I don't want that money. I can bring it, but I can't make you take it. So then we had to get on the ground and work with members of the legislature. My dear sister here, Representative Delisha Boyd, and I want to give a huge shout out to Jason Hughes, who's a state representative who's not present with us, but it's because of their efforts that they pushed with me and put pressure on the governor and got additional members of even the Republican Party to join us to turn that around. The President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House, the Chair of Appropriations, Senate Finance, who stepped up. This is $71 million that go to feeding poor children in the state of Louisiana, black, white, and other. Elections have consequences. If I hadn't been there, that money would have never gotten here. If Jason Hughes hadn't been here, if Delisha Boyd hadn't been here, that money would have never gotten here. So we fight every day for educational dollars. Do you know that HBCUs got more money in the last 2 years, $14.8 billion. HBCUs, more money than has ever been appropriated for HBCUs in the history of HBCUs. If you got some time, I got a whole lot more. So the point I make is there's been a lot of efforts and a lot of work that's done by the people who are elected, by the people who are appointed, and by the people that are here, demonstrating, and the reason we're here today is to double down on the fact that elections have consequences. If Donald Trump becomes president, everything I just mentioned and then some will go down the toilet. If Kamala Harris, an HBCU graduate, former member of the United States Senate, a vice president of the United States of America, a former attorney general, a former district attorney, if she is not president, we're in big trouble. If she is, women's rights will be restored, economic development will be enhanced, our environment will be stronger, our educational opportunities will be better, our young people will be granted better opportunities to not just to survive, but to thrive. Equal pay for women. The minimum wage will go from a piddling $7 to hopefully $20. Well, we will be able to demonstrate that people have worth. Women will have the right to once again have bodily choices to make on their decision. A man shouldn't tell a woman what to do with her body. Women aren't telling men what to do with their bodies. And so we have to continue to fight for those things that are important in our communities and on a broad spectrum.
So I can answer that question too, Doctor. Dr. Raymond Delaney, Associate Professor of Criminal Justice. The criminal justice system has been weaponized against black people, more particularly black males and now females and other minorities. So there is a law of felony disenfranchisement, which means pretty much if you become a convicted felon, then you can no longer vote. That's in certain states. It's not everywhere. Some people can vote in other states. So what I do is work with youth and families in the community, because everybody need a role in a lane. Just like these folks to my left, they're doing the congressional work, they're doing the state level work. I'm in the community, boots on the ground, working with people. And so how does that look? Well, you got a felon and you did your time, you paid your fines, restitution, let's get you expunged. So we educate the families, we educate the youth on what that looks like, and we take them through the actual process. I'm hard on my students, they're in here now. I know they want their 100 points for their paper that they don't have to do because they're here. But nonetheless, my job as an educator is to explain civic duties and how civics actually work. Unfortunately, I do believe some schools have missed the mark on that because they didn't do activities and purpose-driven assignments besides writing a paper. We don't just write papers in my class. So what is important as educators and as institution is to take the time out and to teach a different methodology so that the lessons can be acquired and applied at the necessary place. I have been quiet for the most part because this young lady right here, I felt something from her, and she can tell you if I'm lying. I was coaching her to say stuff. I said, say it. I said, get out there and say it, because sometimes my voice is not as important at the moment. You understand what I'm saying? And so the young lady said about having hard conversations. These students over here tell you we get nitty gritty, and I get raw and uncut. And the most powerful thing that I can tell anyone is to educate yourself by reading. Just even through a TikTok, you can read a TikTok, you can read whatever the case may be. Take the time to better understand it. Lastly, it is our role, again, as educators, as institutions, to make sure the spaces that these kids or the youth need is a place that's inviting, and that we're actively listening, not for a rebuttal, but to understand and to help them guide their way. I heard biomed students, nurses, politicians, future politicians, whatever the case may be. Guess what? They're gonna need you on federal levels. So find your niche right now, and if it doesn't work right now, talk to a mentor, talk to each other, and find your space, because we have to find new jobs. Get acquainted with artificial intelligence and start creating TikToks that can teach civics or whatever the case may be. They got coins out there, y'all. Don't mess it up. All right.
And then if I can add to that, because I know sometimes, especially in the black community, we feel like not enough is being done for us. We don't see the fruits of us voting. because we need to vote in every election, because you have people who are doing the work and working hard and trying to get the bills passed, but if it's more than them than us, we still lose. So you asked what my passion has been. It's really just to been able to help the disenfranchised. So I've passed the bill for the expungement of marijuana charges. I've passed the bill for 25% set-asides for African American businesses and women-owned businesses. However, I have not been able to pass equal pay for women. I ran it 3 sessions. Haven't been able to. Yes, raising the minimum wage. Yes. I literally picked up the helm from him when he moved on to the federal level. I picked up the helm from almost everything that he did here, that he had been fighting. He was first elected to my same seat in 1992, 1991. I'm still fighting those battles today, right? Because we need more of us voting. You have voices at the Capitol, you have voices on the federal level. But if we don't start participating in every election, every single election, I'm a fight, and I was put here to fight, right? I don't have a problem with running the difficult bills, the hard bills, where I have to go sit in and knowing that the faces on this committee, regardless of how many people are there to join me, to support me, behind me, the faces in front of me are going to kill the bill, right? We have to go after some of those seats to give us help. And every single time we think things can't get worse, they show us. Every single time we think things can't get worse, they show us how they can get worse. Who would have ever thought they were going to roll back affirmative action? They did it. Who would have ever thought they were going to overturn Roe v. Wade? They did it. And there's more to come. They're reading from that playbook.
You should. I was just going to go ahead and double down because, even using the Civil Rights Act, saying that we can't use that to protect our communities for clean air and clean water. There are so many different things. Jeff Landry, he also has sued so that we couldn't have the Voting Rights Act or against the Civil Rights Act. So some of the very foundational things that we think of as black progress inside of the nation is being pushed back against right now. And it goes to show you the way that, again, the struggle still continues, but the progress that it is that we think that we made is what it is that they're trying to attack, and that's where we have to hold the line. Even before we even say, okay, we want more things, we want better things, I think that the young people are going to come up and say more progressive things than we've even thought of before, that it is that they want to see. But we do have to be able to hold the line and have enough people to make a difference. Okay, Dr. Atwater, you go ahead.
First, thank you all for answering the question and for just engaging. I really appreciate this, and I would love to have you all come to my class if you're willing and open to. But to the question leads to my second question. When I asked specifically, what are some black things that are coming? The only thing that I heard that was specific for black was a swimming pool.
That's not true. That's not true. Everything I said, very respectful. I'm saying again.
Yeah, tell me.
Say them again. Environmental justice. That's black. Hold on. That's black. Yeah, have you looked lately?
So hold on. Can I finish my question first?
Because you already asked the question. The answer is, if you look at where the issues are for environmental justice, the greatest numbers are in black.
No, I don't disagree with that.
Well, you said it wasn't for black.
No. I said specifically.
That is specifically. Right, but we're talking. I assume you're
talking So this leads to my second question.
Okay.
So how is it? Even when we talked about Project 2025.
And you said just a swimming pool, man. That's offensive. That's not all we said. I didn't say swimming pool. HBCUs. 14,
you gonna let me finish my question? Can I finish my question?
Can I just say this? $14.8 billion. HBCUs. Who's that for?
I work at HBCU.
And I teach at HBCU. Product of HBCU. And I work here too.
Okay. So can I answer my question?
You can.
Okay. So with that being said, the main question I have, particularly when it comes to your position and just the initiatives of black politicians in general, or even black leaders in general, right? We see like the Urban League having events sponsored by Shell. I'm not sure how that creates, justice and equality for black people in general, but what is being done to ensure trust in black politicians to the black community?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Right.
It does. And I'm going to give you again. $14.8 billion to make sure that HBCUs have resources to educate all these people who deserve it. right? Pushing back against those who want to get rid of HBCUs. Making sure that we're fighting that young people have equal access to health care. Fighting to make sure that $71.1 million to feed young black children.
Only black children?
No, it's not only black
Exactly.
children. We don't live.
That's not the question I asked.
Wait a minute. We don't live in an only black world. The majority of the people who benefit this are going to be African American kids. So, but you know, we cannot live in a myopic world. We live in a world that is inclusive. So you can't live. You want to talk? I'll wait.
I can answer that question.
No.
I got it. No, listen. I got you, Congressman.
I can do this because I really want. This is a great opportunity. This is excellent. This is healthy. Because this is a part of what we need to talk about. We have been fighting to vote to make sure we're protecting the rights of African Americans. How about that? Specifically black people. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, specifically to push back against crimes against black people by rogue police officers. Yes? The John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Act, to push back specifically against those who would try to take away the right of African Americans to vote, specifically black. Fighting to make sure that we are working on the infant mortality rate of black women, specifically black people. Dude, every day the Congressional Black Caucus weeks. Pardon?
Doctor? Not dude. Doctor, I don't want to disrespect you. I don't want you to disrespect me.
Dr. Atwater.
I appreciate that.
Have a good day. Bless you, brother.
Like, I love respect for you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you to think that it's...
No,
like,
but listen, we have to put our egos at the door, and we have to come together as a people. You can call me Troy, because here's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to tell you about my degrees nor my titles. I'm here to love you and to demonstrate relationships matter, elections matter, and we're here to fight for people, not about ego or titles.
Right, Dr. Atwater. I think. So I work with Capital One. They funded us, and we were able to work with 10 black-owned businesses to get from a startup. So that's one of the initiatives that I did with Louisiana Council of Resources. Also, during COVID-19 in Houma, we were able to work with 80 black families that were struggling during that time, and the outcomes were helping them get back on their feet, and also create savings accounts and reliable transportation so that they can get to work and from work. So those are the things that were specifically done for black people as well. And I just want to say one last thing. It was a long time that I had disconnected from this whole democratic process. I then found myself as an independent, because on the left side, when it comes to financial matters, I'm very conservative for a lack of words. When it comes to social matters, I'm very liberal, so I'm in between. I'm a moderate Democrat. I live in a very conservative district in Jefferson Parish. And so what I do is I fight. One of the fights that I have, a lot of my black brothers feel left out. They feel like their voice is not being heard. So what I did as a Democratic delegate for Harris and Waltz, I went to the breakfast that we had placed by our congressman, and I posed a question to a Politico saying that black men in particular want to know, if they vote for her, what will their buy-in be? That is a relevant question. People have the right to answer that. But it's on the other end, people have to do their research. I'm a veteran, so I believe in things that's all veteran matters, right? A lot of people say this word all the time, phraseology. Thank you for your service, but they don't know that that's offensive to most veterans. And you can Google this, and it'll show you the surveys and the statistics. But people say it just because it's a generosity, gratitude. However, as individuals, we have to educate ourselves and listen to each other and not be afraid to have, I think they said, the hard conversations. If you want to just talk about black people, let's talk about it, but bring solutions and tell us what that really looks like. What I mean by that is I want to see more economic development as it relates specifically for black men who are probably intersection. I'm LGBTQ and I serve this country. You understand? I will go down to, I'm a patriot. And most Republicans, they claim that they're patriotic, but that's in words. I guarantee they wouldn't come on that battlefield with us, right? But again, I'm willing to be that anomaly and speak up for you all, or if people feel, like their voices are not heard. It starts here. You are that powerful voice just by sitting here, but never be afraid to stand up for your people and what you believe in, no matter what the cause or the situation may be. But respect that it comes with consequences. I have been placed in a position where people sometimes don't want to work with me. But I'm okay with that. You know why? Because I'm going to fight till I die. And that's all I can do.
Okay, all right. That's a great place for us to go to commercial break. We're going to have to head into for a commercial break.
I need to add to that.
No, we have to head in for a commercial break. But we will be right back, and we'll get right back to it. And we also have a long line of students. Their legs hurt. They're standing here waiting. And we got standing room only. Okay, that's what I like to see. All right, after these messages, we'll be right back.
Reality Check, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris's goal of 25 million new small business applications in her first term is a significant increase from the current pace of small business creation. Speaking in New Hampshire Wednesday, Harris laid out her economic vision for the country. The Justice Department is accusing Russia of trying to influence the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Wednesday, Attorney General Merrick Garland detailed the Russian campaign to interfere with the election. Garland said 2 Russian employees of the Russian state media outlet RT have been charged. Bad weather got in the way of SpaceX's plans this week. The company had to move yesterday's planned launch from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station to this afternoon because of unfavorable conditions in the Atlantic Ocean. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Celebrating hardworking teachers of New Orleans Public Schools is what we do best. Join New Schools for New Orleans, Allstate, Sugar Bowl, and Interstate New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 3rd annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. If you want to check out the awardees and the schools where they teach at, please visit noeta, noeta.org. You can also purchase tickets to the gala via the website too. Let's send these teachers some love for all the hard work they do with our students.
Welcome back to school, families and scholars. NOLA Public Schools is excited to kick off another exciting year of learning, growth, and success. Our dedicated teachers have been preparing all summer to provide an engaging and enriching experience for every student. Let's embrace new challenges, celebrate achievements, and make this school year the best one yet. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS by visiting our social media channels. Here's to a year filled with curiosity, creativity, and community. Attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Mount Hermon Baptist Church Hospitality presents The New Black Wall Street, Saturday, September 21st at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Have a chance to introduce your products and services to a captivating audience, calling all small business owners, food vendors, authors, body care products, wellness boutiques, clothing merchandise, and much more at Mount Hermon Baptist Church, 3512 U.S. Highway 90 in Avondale. This event is free to the public. To become a vendor or for more information, contact 504-436-8062.
New Orleans, this is Jamar McNeely, Chief Executive Officer in Spinola Charter Schools. I'm excited to invite you to an incredible event you don't want to miss. The NOLA Love, Inspiration, Advocacy Rally featuring legendary Bishop T.D. Jakes. Join us on September 6th at 10 a.m. at Xavier's Convocation Center as we come together to uplift our community, inspire change, and advocate for the future of our youth. This is your chance to be a part of something truly powerful. RSVP now at inspirenolaschools.org. We'll see you there.
Hey folks, it's Dr. Shepherd. You know me. I've got something special for you. Write this number down. 504-858-4696. That number is for you if you're having hair loss issues, no matter what the issue may be. It's for an all-natural ingredient formula derived by my mom, a pharmacist, in 1971. And trust me, it works. Give us a try. You can get your hands on it right now. Call 504-858-4696.
Hey, this is D. Riley from the 90s Hits R&B Jams. Make sure you listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday night from 7 until 9 p.m. I'll be giving you the best R&B jams from the 90s. That's right, all your favorites and more. With me, D. Riley, your host of the 90s Hits, right here on WBOK 1230 AM. Or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer.
The Reality Check. WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Welcome back. We are back from break. If it sounds a little different to you today, we are live over at the University Center at Xavier University. This is our third conversation that we're having with our students and executives and our folks, our elected officials. We're in the middle right now doing the photo taking. And look, if you have not checked it, please go to our Facebook page. See everything that is happening. You can see everything that's happening right here. All right? We're going to take all the photos. And Dr. Shepard, I got to tell you, we got some really good heated conversation going on.
Yes.
Representative.
Yes, I want to add on to something. I know Dr. Adwater is gone.
Everybody, we on the radio. Okay, go ahead.
Dr. Adwater?
Yeah, I think he's gone.
He's right there.
If you can step in just 1 second, I just wanted to add some context.
Dr. Adwater, you in trouble now. I'm just saying.
Not in trouble. I actually love the conversation. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. We have 105 members of the House of Representatives. 105. 73 of them are Republicans. White Republicans. That only leaves us with 32 black people on the House floor. By the graces of God, I was able to pass the expungement of marijuana charges because that affects the black community in Louisiana more than any other community. I was able to pass 25% set-asides for black-owned, women-owned businesses as well. Against the odds, a bill that they have been trying to pass for the last 30 years, I was able to get it done. But when you have a House that is 73 members white Republicans, I'm proud of the work I've done. I've passed nearly 20 bills in the 3 sessions that I have been in the House of Representatives. But the things that matter the most to me that also affect our black communities, which is why I'm running it, because I'm a black female, I had the governor I got a bill to pardon marijuana by the governor to bypass the pardon board. I got it through the committee, off the floor, through the Senate committee, through the Senate floor, only to have the governor veto it. Right? So I don't want the perception to be that we're not working. I'm running the hard bills. I ran 24 bills this past session. The 10 that I got passed sounds great, but the 14 that I couldn't get through are things that affect our community. And what I want to get to people is that know that we are fighting. We are passing the bills that matter the most in the black communities. But if there's more of them than us, because we feel like we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, so I'm not going to vote no more, that's not the answer. That's not the answer. We have to vote and vote often. We have to look at those that are voting against teacher pay raises and go after their seats. Look at those that are voting down raising the minimum wage from $7.25 an hour here in Louisiana. When insurance has gone up, groceries has gone up, the house, and I get it. I ain't got time to worry about an election. I got to keep my lights on. I understand it. But if you want help getting those things done, we got to change those people in that House and in the Senate and on the federal level, right? I could run the bills all day long, and I think I have a great relationship working across the field. That's how I've been able to pass bills. But they will look me in the face and say, Rep. Boyd, I understand, but we have to vote this way. They vote on a mission. We have to start voting on a mission.
Dr. Edward, I want to add something too. One of the things that has happened in the state of Louisiana, and I think all of us are aware of this, is that we've become like one of the most, if not at the top, most incarcerated. And with being most incarcerated, it's my brothers and your sisters that are the ones that are in jail. So one of the things that I would say that would be something that we could take as African Americans is that your representative here, Congressman, went to the federal government, came back here, and brought $3.5 million for reentry. So those folks that are getting out, the recidivism rate, which we don't talk about in our community, is, you think it's like 1 or 2 times, it's 7 to 8 times. Meaning that if you get out, more than likely you're going back at least 7 to 8 more times. And the reason behind that, which the data is showing, is the fact that we release you with nothing. You get out, you don't have no job, you don't have a place to stay, you don't have any training, you don't have any of that. So Congressman Carter sat down and had a conversation with our sheriff. And what we're doing now, and notice what I said, what we're doing now, because I'm also involved, is making sure that we have the folks that are doing the work in our community that don't get the recognition, that's not on television, that's not doing this, but we got a lot of churches, we got a lot of barbershops, we got folks that are professionals in their industry that can take some of these folks and train them to be able to provide for themselves. And then just saying, I'm gonna give you a job. How about if I give you a career? Because we can train you to provide for yourself and your family. But none of that is something that we can do unless this man didn't bring us $3.5 million.
Okay, thank you for that, G. Thank you. Okay, so I would like to go ahead and be able to take our line of students without having to dip back into answering. So let's hear a couple of students and then we'll throw it back for answers. Also in the chat, someone is saying we need to talk more about reparations because that's what affects black people. So I just want to put that elephant inside the room. Okay. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and move over to some of our students. Please say your name, your major, and then what comment or question you have.
Hi everyone, my name is Lola Bell. I am a biology pre-med major here at Xavier University. My question, or like why young people don't vote, is because like there are a lot of schools don't talk about it, especially if you're a senior in high school and then you turn 18 and you want to vote, but not a lot of institutions or schools are talking about it or giving a class or anything like that. Like one of me and my classmates were talking about how she's from Houston and she was saying, well, males can register for the military, but they can't have anything to do with like registering to vote or just having someone to talk to about it or having someone just to help them, or like even if it's just like a section in a class, like we have professors like Dr. Shepard telling us about these things and having panels and speaking about it, but a lot of people don't have like the foundation to vote because they don't have anyone that's telling them about it whatsoever. If it wasn't like, because my school didn't talk about it where I came from, if it wasn't for like my family and my aunt working with voters' rights and like women's rights and stuff like that, and my mom, I wouldn't have nothing to do with voting. But because of them, I have the foundation for it. But a lot of schools, they decide not to just talk about it. And if you don't have someone who looks like you that's talking about it, you don't have the motivation to do anything about it because you just think it's just for them and it's not for you.
Hi, my name is Alicia Jones. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a sophomore. Oh, my fault. I'm a sophomore political science major here at Xavier. And my biggest thing, I don't want to say like I don't vote. This is going to be my first time being able to vote. I'm 19. But I feel like someone said earlier, it's really discouraging. You know what I mean? It's like we don't have good climate. Climate change is out of control. My rights are being taken away every other day. Everybody's going to war. Everybody's getting shot, murdered, killed. Everything's going crazy. You know what I mean? So it just feels like at this point, it's like, what more can we do? Everything that we're doing is being taken away. Everything that we're trying to do is being blocked by someone else, or someone saying no, or someone saying, oh, we can't do that, we can't do this. What else are we supposed to do if voting's not working?
Because we're not voting enough. If we're being honest about it, we are not focused on taking the seats from those that vote against our wants and needs. We're focused on running against each other. That's what we do. We want to replace the Carter versus adding to the Carter. They want to replace the Boyd versus adding to the Boyd. We need more of them to be gone, because I get it. That's what made me run in 2021. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, but I felt like I needed to be on the inside to see how they function, to see what more could I do, right? So I'm going to pick up the helm and run, because I hear you. But if we don't get those people, look at who votes against us fundamentally in every vote that they get, and we go after their seats, because we have the ability to do it. We have the ability to do it, to plan. Congress is every 2 years. Let's add some more. We have 6 congressional seats here. The House seats every 4 years. We look at how they vote, and then we plan for 4 years to get their seat. We want a new governor. We need to start planning right now. We need to start planning right now, because that's their goal, to make us feel like we have no way out. That's their goal, when there are more of us than them. And then we need to also unify versus calling out the congressman or the rep or the senator that's doing their job, because that also is like voter suppression. If you constantly hear from people saying there's nothing that anybody black can do, well, when you stay home, you're not helping us. When you say that to another person versus knowing the record of the people who are there fighting, understanding that their voice and that they need their support, I'm willing to bring you guys up during the session so you can see the cycle of how it works. You know, that's next February, but if Dr. Shepard, where is she, wants to bring her class to the Capitol, and we watch how the process falls through, you watch what happens in committee, you watch what happens on the floor, maybe that's a better understanding for you. But also know that's streamed too. You can watch it from wherever you are. You can watch how they fundamentally want to take our rights. We're fighting for our rights, but they're taking them from us. How do you stop that? Get rid of them voting.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucine Flores. I am a junior criminal justice major, social work minor. I go to Dillard University, I'm sorry. So I don't have an answer to why young people don't vote, but listening to the conversations and everything that everybody is saying, so I'm here. I'm an HBCU student, you know, we all are. What about my friends at home who don't go to college, who don't want to be an attorney, who don't want to be a doctor? What about those people out there? I have another part right before.
Picking up some jewels, you take it back to your neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, I could do that. But I mean, when we look around and our friends dying every day, I have a brother at home who was incarcerated for 15 years, who just came home, and y'all talking about this money that's being put into people when they come home, but I thought when you go to jail because you're supposed to be rehabilitated. So what's going on there? I know that's another conversation, but that was my comment.
Can I make a quick comment?
Anybody want to take that on? Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to comment on the first student and the last student who just spoke. I think one of the big things is, like, we already know that, like, our education system is underfunded, especially in minority communities. I think that there needs to be way more work to promote civic engagement in high schools, because I had the privilege of going to a well-funded high school, but I know that's not the experience of most students. And like the last student just said, like, we're talking to a privileged community of people who had the opportunity to seek higher education. Understanding politics may be a little bit more easy for us because we're constantly developing our literacy skills on a daily basis. This is not the experience of most people in New Orleans, the experience of most people in Louisiana. We have to, I think, do more work outside of this specific sector of students, because this is not the majority of people. Like I said, politics is hard. As a student who takes political science classes as a minor in political science, I struggle understanding legal jargon and policy work. I think it's very, very difficult to dissect how these things will impact me, impact my family, impact my communities. So I can only imagine what these young 18-year-olds are thinking when they're voting in the voting booth or not voting at all. I think that although you can't force students to vote a certain way in high school, and we can't really push too much politics onto them, there needs to be more voter encouragement. There needs to be more education on what this looks like, because honestly, I'm sitting here next to these people and I hear them talking about the work that, not just what they want to do, but the work they have done or why they couldn't get something done. And I think we have a little bit of distrust with our black elected officials because we think they're not doing anything. They get elected and they're not doing anything. But we don't understand why. We don't understand what's stopping them from making the changes they want to make, because we're not voting and we don't understand how politics works. So I think more education in high schools needs to be done. I think we need to do more outreach with people who are not just in colleges, college campuses, so that they can understand. And I think, like she was saying, like, she can do the education with her communities, but it only goes so far. And sometimes you want to hear a politician say, this is what I plan to do, and let me teach you, let me show you how this works. Not just somebody in your family who you feel like, what you know, like, what do you know?
You were speaking on, and I think that was that young lady there, speaking on the population, I would say that's forgotten about. Well, I know at our organization, that is the population that we target. Those that's formerly incarcerated, those that's currently incarcerated and their families. Going in places where others may not want to go is where we go. I knock on doors. I go to table at events. I'm at Xavier. I go to the schools and teach about voter registration and education. I speak to those that's incarcerated. We're now planning to go in Orleans Parish Prison and teach and make sure that they are voting and their voices are heard. Making sure we stand at city council and testify. Those are the things that we're doing, I know, at our org. And so servicing us all is a benefit and not just some. I hear what you're saying, because sometimes when we are in these spaces, we're already talking to a population that's educated and understand why voting is important. So my focus is always to go where others will not go. And so re-entry, that's always a plus, and it's always something that I make sure that I do on a day-to-day basis.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
And this probably goes to the whole panel, and especially for our students too. So I guess everybody in here. How come we don't, because what I did hear, and I'm using words that I keep hearing, we don't understand, we don't understand, and we don't understand, we don't know. So I guess my question would be, how come our students, because I think that you all have the biggest impact when we talk about education, because I've seen students stand up and protest and do what they do, especially with causes that might be even international. But I would say this, how come we don't say, we need civic classes so we can understand?
We need civic classes, and that has been taken.
All right, she said it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
But that's why I'm going to teach it. When I go into schools, I hold myself responsible for sharing that education that they feel we don't need.
But I'm saying as a curriculum, why don't we have civic classes? We let them take them out.
It was taken out, but also what people don't realize, we had an initiative. It was a teaching. It was between Xavier University, Southern University at New Orleans, Dillard University, Holy Cross, Loyola, and one other school. And we taught how to do, we taught the students how to organize, mobilize, do all those different things, and we focused on the First Amendment.
But so can I put something in with what you're just saying right there? Because I want you to answer this with your... I think that if the universities are doing that, congratulations, I'm with you. But I do think that if you all are mobilizing in its universities, because you just named universities, I think we're too late. We need to be mobilizing with civic classes while these are in 7th, 8th, 9th, and then when they get into high school, it's the same way that I'll use the example. The example of when I moved here, I would hear my elders and the folks that went to Booker T and went to all these different, not universities, but these different high schools.
that had pride with their high school, not only because they had pride of their school, but they also talked about the training that they got while they were in high school, that when they got out, they had a certificate, and if they didn't want to go to a four-year university, they had the training to go and be able to provide for their families because they could go straight into the job force. How come we don't have that same mindset while we're in school, these younger men and women, to be able to say, hey, look, while we're in school, let's take civic classes so that we'll know what the Student Government Association does. So I don't have to wait when I get into college. I want our kids to be smart about the electorate right now.
Yeah, we are doing that, but we can do a better job. I'm going to let you go, right? We are doing that. We can do a better job. At Southern University, we have adopted Sarah T. Reed High and Middle School. Everything we do, we keep them involved, especially when it comes to history, black history, etc. We have Dr. Clyde Roberts, who is a phenomenal historian. He makes sure that we are always vetting what we're going to put out as a narrative and make sure that when the lessons is to be acquired or learned by the youth on up to collegiate level, that it's a consistent message. So what I'm saying is that we need more of, but I heard a trend that I don't know if people are paying attention. These folks to my left, they write laws, they make laws, they pass laws, they fight a fight on a different level. I'm in the community, in the trenches, grassroots, okay? We're doing a summer, we did a summer enrichment program with the youth to build character, right? To teach them about digital financial literacy, to teach them about skill set that they're gonna need for the workforce. Guess what happened during during the summer? We didn't have the money to pay for food because somebody thought it was a smart idea to take away food, right? So we had to hustle and bustle and figure out how we're gonna make sure that these kids are fed and that the mentors, who some of them still haven't been paid yet, from doing the work that they already did, right? But it's my responsibility to keep fighting, to talk to these folks, to my, like you saying to my left, but the folks that can do things on a different level and say, this is what we're hearing on the ground. Congressman, we need this. And you be patient with them and you continue to budge them, nudge them. They know I get on their nerves sometimes, but at the end of the day, they know it's a good heart and they're gonna do what they can in the right timing.
I'm with you on that too, but and again, I'm gonna go back to something else, to our panel, our esteemed panel. When I was coming up as a kid, I could wake up on Saturday mornings, and while I'm getting ready to see Almighty ISIS, Shazam, and all the rest of y'all don't know nothing about that. I'm sorry. Everybody looked at me like, what? But what I'm making a point was there was also an education component that went on it because we could all sit there and sing that song. I'm just a bill, and I'm on and the worst part about that with our young folks, y'all listen, still sitting up here saying, well, what are you talking about? But everybody up here that's my age started singing it at the same time. But we all remember it from a kid. And I'm thinking to myself, how come we don't have that type of influence to our younger folks to
I'll
make
answer
them
that
get that?
for you. Elections have consequences. Civics was taken out of the school system. They changed, they banned books. It goes right back to where I've been saying every single time I get this mic, is that elections have consequences. We have to vote more. We had several book bans this past session, right? Book bans, and this is what I'm going to say to our young people and to any teacher that's listening. I did a voter registration with Alliance for Good Government in 2023 at one of the schools, and I talked about the bus boycott. I talked about the Bloody Sunday, and these kids had never heard of Bloody Sunday. So we're fighting at the Capitol trying to keep books in, but they're already not teaching our kids already. That has to do with who is elected. That has to do with who's elected on the state level, on what they're going to take out. That has to do with who's being elected to the school boards. That has to do with the governor in place at the time. All these things are being rolled back. That I had no idea civics wasn't being taught anymore. I was told that it hadn't been taught in schools for almost 20 years now, right? If we want more for ourselves, trust me, you have people who are there who want to fight, I'm just saying we need help. Let's take some of them 73 seats and turn them to women voters, to African American voters, to Democrat voters. Put them in the places to help me get the bills done that we need where our children are being educated.
All right. We got to take this break. We're going to come right back. We got another hour. We're going to let the students take it from there. Bethany is coming up next. So we're going to take the break just for a radio minute. Everybody get them some water. If you want some coffee, we got coffee in the back as well. So just, go ahead and do that. We'll be right back live from Xavier, y'all.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
You know, there are some people who just light up your heart with a feeling of grace, peace, and comfort when you're in their presence. Mrs. Sybil Heidel Morial was such a person. With her recent passing, I am reminded of just how much she meant to the nation, the state, and her beloved city of New Orleans. Her quiet grace and eloquence belied her fierce resolve to wage a relentless battle in the fight for civil rights and human justice. It is well documented that she became the first African-American First Lady upon the election of her husband Dutch as the first African-American mayor of the Crescent City. But Sybil was a warrior in her own right. She fought alongside her husband as they together battled against the scions of bigotry and racial hatred. She would chronicle the death threats that she and Dutch received when he was president of the New Orleans NAACP in her memoir, Witness to Change, From Jim Crow to Political Empowerment. When denied a membership in the League of Women Voters because she was African American, Mrs. Morial formed an organization to help blacks vote. She was among the first to test the anti-integration policy against blacks attempting to enroll at both Tulane and Loyola universities. Neither accepted her as a student at the time because she was African American. A lifelong educator with 2 degrees from Boston University, she successfully challenged the statute prohibiting public school teachers from being involved in any organization advocating civil rights. Inasmuch as she and Dutch were champions of the civil rights movement, Sybil was also a guiding force for family, helping Dutch raise 5 children, including Mark Morial, who would follow in his father's footsteps, also becoming mayor of New Orleans, and a daughter, Monique Morial, who is an Orleans Parish judge and was recently elected to the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals without opposition. I shall miss Mrs. Morial, seeing her face, hearing her voice, forever reminding me of the power of grace, elegance, eloquence, dignity, and quiet resolve in the face of challenge and duress. My sincere gratitude and heartfelt condolences to the Morial and Heidel families. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Hey y'all, it's Chef Bunny, and I'm the host of The Roux, where we will be discussing all things food and NOLA. You can catch me live on air Thursdays at 12:30 p.m., so check out what we'll be cooking up on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Welcome back to school, families and scholars. NOLA Public Schools is excited to kick off another exciting year of learning, growth, and success. Our dedicated teachers have been preparing all summer to provide an engaging and enriching experience for every student. Let's embrace new challenges, celebrate achievements, and make this school year the best one yet. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS by visiting our social media channels. Here's to a year filled with curiosity, creativity, and community. Attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Boost your savings with a CD from Home Bank. For a limited time, Home Bank is offering 5.05% annual percentage yield on a 5-month CD. If you want a longer term, take advantage of the 4.50% APY on a 9-month CD. The minimum balance for this special is just $2,500. So speak with a banker at any Home Bank location today. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, have you heard the news? First Pilgrims Baptist Church is now on WBOK 1230 a.m. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. to hear Pastor Eugene Mitchell give you the inspiration you need for the week ahead. That's every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Greetings, WBOK family. This is Jason Clark, host of United Way and You. Be sure to tune in next Thursday at 12 p.m. when we'll be speaking with Melanie Richardson, co-founder and executive director of Training Grounds, a United Way funded partner. The topic will be the We Play, We Connect Family Resource Hub. Please tune in if you're able. Until then, we only have one life to live, so live united.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans, home of the Reality Check, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Georgia's governor is promising to direct what resources he can to Appalachia High School in Barrow County. Brian Kemp spoke with Barrow County's sheriff before speaking about the tragedy that killed 2 students and 2 school employees at Appalachia High School on Wednesday. President Joe Biden said more lives were cut short due to senseless gun violence, calling it an endemic that's personal to him. He added that he's also coordinating with federal, state, and local officials. Chicago aldermen say the city has to get creative to overcome a budget deficit of close to $1 billion. City council members returned to work on Wednesday after their August break. Some of Black Mayor Brandon Johnson's aldermanic allies are suggesting imposing a sales tax on services like fitness centers, spas, and salons. In a little more than a month, the mayor is expected to present a balanced budget proposal for the Chicago City Council to consider. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Celebrating hardworking teachers of New Orleans Public Schools is what we do best. Join New Schools for New Orleans, Allstate, Sugar Bowl, and Integer New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 3rd annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. If you want to check out the awardees in the schools where they teach at, please visit noeta, noeta.org. You can also purchase tickets to the gala via the website too. Let's send these teachers some love for all the hard work they do with our students.
Reality Check, WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back for our live on the air. Thank you all so much for dealing with us and tuning into our great conversation today. We are live at the UC University Center right here at Xavier University, and our esteemed panel is answering a whole bunch of questions. I know we're in another hour, and we have not done this. I think we should do it again for those that are just tuning in. If we could just go down the list and let everybody know who's sitting at the desk here with all of our great students and faculty and just concerned citizens in our city. Please introduce yourself, starting with Dr. Delaney.
Good evening. Dr. Raymond Delaney, Program Coordinator of the Master of Criminal Justice at Southern University at New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amaya Sade Boyd, and I am the president of NAACP at Xavier University of Louisiana.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sayon Smith, representing Dillard University. I'm vice president of operations, but I also lead our emergency management team and co-facilitate the HBCU Emergency Management Consortium, of which Dillard University is a co-facilitator.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative Delisha Boyd. I represent District 102. That's all of Algiers.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Troy Carter. I'm a member of Congress representing the 2nd Congressional District here in Louisiana. Additionally, I'm proud to be a professor of political science right here at Xavier University.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla Lumar. I'm a junior here at Xavier University of Louisiana. I'm a sociology, crime, and social justice major and a minor in political science pre-law.
Good evening. My name is Nziki Wiltz. I'm here representing Vote and Voters Organized to Educate.
And thank you all.
Rise Collective.
All right. Thank you all for being here today. And our students and our faculty, please give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. And this young lady is really getting ready to say a whole bunch of stuff too. She got a whole bunch of stuff to say, so I'm gonna give her the microphone. She's been standing here for a minute. Miss Bethany.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bethany Phoenix. I am a junior double majoring in urban studies, public policy, and criminal justice at the illustrious Dillard University. Oh, sorry. And I'm really just want to talk to like my peers in the room, if that's okay for a second. So I've had the opportunity of working at the Louisiana State Capitol or internship in Baton Rouge during the congressional session. And so when she was talking about, they're trying to get bills passed, this, that, and the third, I've seen firsthand how difficult that is. And I've seen how there's none of us in the room. It's always our white counterparts. And they're always trying to, if there are any of us in the room, they're always trying to shut us down, shut up whatever we have to say down. So that's why I think I do vote. And this will be my first time voting in the presidential election. And I just want to urge everyone the importance of it, because this is history. Like, this will go down in history. Either way it goes, I mean, we're going to still have to fight at the end of the day. But I just want to urge everybody the importance of it. I also want to say that I also had the opportunity, not to make a bunch of accolades about me, but I've just been in the settings and I've seen things firsthand. I had the opportunity of internship at the Eastern District Louisiana Courthouse downtown, and in my department specifically, there's nothing but white people. And one day they were talking about the presidential election, this, that, and the third, and when you're the only person in the room, you try not to say too much, because these people still got to pay you at the end of the day. So so they were talking about it, this, that, and the third, and I thought it's not the best to say who you're gonna vote for, but they were saying it, and we have Mr. Donald J. Trump and Miss Kamala Harris, and everyone was like, I think I'm just gonna have to vote for Donald because I cannot fathom a black woman running the country. And I'm just eating my ramen noodles, we on lunch. And I said, I don't think I heard what I just heard. Well, I'm very opinionated, and I don't know how to shut up. So I go in the conversation or whatever, and I'm just like, can you repeat what you just said one more time? And he said, oh, what do you think you heard? And I said, I think I just heard you say that you can't fathom a black woman running the country. And I asked him why. And he was like, but y'all just have everything already. I mean, y'all got Black History Month. Y'all got this, that, and the third. And I said, excuse me? I had to code switch a little bit. But all that, needless to say, is I said my piece, he said his piece, and I mean, everything worked out. But I'm just saying, people want to see us fail. We have to really do our job and go out, and I love the idea of having this panel, but it can't just stop here. I feel like when we go to things like this, it stops. We do the work in the room, but after that, it goes nowhere. So I think the work definitely has to continue, and I think we also need to pull roots from, like someone was saying on the panel, back from the 60s, back when Martin Luther King and all of them were on the Edmunds Pettus Bridge fighting and marching, and we need to remember that this is a right. We earned the right to vote, especially African American women. It took us the longest. So I think we definitely need to urge that, and I urge everyone to whoever you vote for, however your political views are, you definitely need to vote, because this is a moment in history that we'll never be able to get back. So that's all I wanted to say.
What's your sorority, ma'am?
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Yes, ma'am.
Hold on 1 second. Now, y'all know she's quiet in my class, so I'm going to be expecting her to really talk now.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Akila Daughtery. Sorry. Okay. I'm a junior data science major, and my representative is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Yes. I feel like there's a financial disconnect that's causing some things to be overlooked. We need to be getting people to vote by going to the homeless shelters too. We need to have the U.S.'s most vulnerable populations vote. The reason why I think a lot of youth don't vote is because there is a lack of simple transportation, and we're basically stuck on campus. And I feel a lot of times we aren't met where we are, and we could do a lot by just renting a bus and just going place to place.
I want to step in after her. I do agree that transportation and mobilization is an issue, but for us at Xavier University, we're a polling location. So please make sure you're there. Make sure you're there, okay?
Come on, my dear. Tell everybody who you are.
Hello, my name is Asia Collins. I am a junior criminal justice major, no minor, and I'm representing Dillon University. From experience, I am registered. I have voted in the community, and this will be my first time voting for the presidential election. I do feel like it's very hard for the youth to vote, only because this might go over a lot of people's head in here. We don't like to read, and when we do read, we are not understanding what we are reading. We're not comprehending, and we're not looking past the words on the paper and thinking deeper about what's being said. So, and even voting, going to the polls, I think I stood there for about a good 30 minutes. I don't care who was behind me waiting to vote. I sat there and I read who I was voting for and what I was voting for, and I did not care how long it took me to vote or press the button. I stood there and read to understand what I was voting for and who I was voting for. Because I feel like we can make a difference if you understand and read what you're understanding. Yeah.
Can I add something right quick? I didn't. That's, man, you really hit the. You did it.
And we don't like to read.
Yeah. Oh, guess what? I incorporate phones in my curriculum. Ask them. We have our cell phones out when we learn it. But nonetheless, I know there's a ballot that goes out from representatives and things like that with initiatives and laws and things like that. Maybe we can get some of those things directed to the educational institution, within law or what have you, because I don't know the laws behind that. So that's a good idea that we can probably look at, making sure that it get to you all and it's understandable and readable for y'all to comprehend. One of my students came up and she held me accountable and said we didn't answer her question. And so I want to just piggyback a little bit on that question and say, when you're dealing with a hopeless generation, or it feels like it's hopeless, because sometimes we have feelings, we're humans, and it may not look like we're getting progress. We have made some progress. It's a long way ahead of us, but we have made some progress. The fight never ends, right? When you're dealing with people who are from the hood, right, 7th Ward, right here, but we have to be able to get down to their level and ask them questions so that we can better understand what it is that they see. What's their lens? What's their perspective? What does life look like for them? The young lady said, go to the homeless shelter. Let's talk to them and do those surveys and see what it is that they want. Then, as you know, I'm an at-large parish executive committee member. I can take this information and bring it to the representatives and bring it to the congressional offices and let them know and say, hey, this is what is happening on the ground, or this is what's happening in the hood. They see it this way. What can we do and bring that initiative forward? But we have to be solution oriented. Sometimes they may be smart to write laws and things like that, but they might not have the answer to our question, and so the answer may be at the hopeless person. Do that make sense? So talk to them, ask the right question, ask them what they see a brighter future may be for them, and be able to articulate that information and send it up the chain. So when they go to law and fight for us, they know what they're fighting with, and it's something tangible and something relevant that can be articulated on a legal aspect, a legislative level.
All
So I
right.
hope that helps.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Quinice McDowell. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and my major is mechanical engineering. Just to piggyback off the last two peers and just say that The reason why I feel that my peers don't vote is because they're lazy and that they don't use the resources. I don't want to say, like, let's not use the excuse that we're not educated on it, because we're educated enough to where we can, you know, go back, read articles, get details. So, like, when I ask people, you know, not saying, like, who are you voting for, but, like, which way, you know, you're leaning towards voting, they start stating, I'm voting for Donald Trump because Kamala Harris put 100 people in jail, but they're not reading, you know, the articles. They're just reading the headlines. We're not getting, you know, depth enough into it, or, you know, things like that. And the reason why they say they vote for Trump is because the stimulus checks, when, you know, I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, just my opinion.
No. And you're right. You're right.
You're absolutely right. Can I tell you one thing about those stimulus checks? Let me tell you about those stimulus checks.
Let's talk about it.
A Democratic Congress approved that money. A Democratic Senate approved that money. He put his name on that check as if he supported that money. He did not. Now, it was a masterful move on his part, and he fooled a lot of us. But the truth of the matter is, it was a Democratic Congress that appropriated that money. The president doesn't appropriate money. The Congress appropriates money. That's the distinction between the separation of powers. The presidency doesn't appropriate money. Congress holds the purse. That money was sent out. This president, as he does with everything, pushed the envelope, pressed beyond precedent, and he put his name on it as if he was writing you a check. Just didn't happen. But young sister, you are so correct. We are often hoodwinked by the top line. We're often hoodwinked by the top line. And when Barack Obama was first running, there were black people who said, he's not black enough.
Okay.
Well, black enough compared to who? John McCain?
That's what I'm saying.
Right? And then they say Kamala she put people in jail. Well, I think we all can acknowledge that people break laws. They should go to jail. But people should be prosecuted fairly. And when people pay their debt to society, they should be given an opportunity to re-enter. So to say she put 100 people in jail, well, let's go see what those 100 people did. Maybe they raped someone. Maybe they murdered someone. Maybe they abused children. There are reasons why some people go to jail. We have to have a system of law and order. But we also have to have a system to do it fairly, to make sure that people are not prosecuted because of the way they look, or the zip code they live in, or because they happen to look like me or you. I got 2 black sons, and I worry about them out there in the street too, because I know that on any given day, some rogue cop may say, get that black boy, who happens to be my child. So we have to stand in the gap, and we have to read. I love what she said. You got to read more than the top line. And then you've got to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. They're both fruit, but different ones. We got to compare and say, what has she done versus what he has done? When Kamala Harris spoke at the convention, she said something that was so powerful. She said, my entire career has been Kamala Harris for the people. She's represented the American people as a district attorney, an attorney general, United States senator, and a vice president. She's been on the side of the people her entire career. The other fella, who has 34 felony convictions, should not even be able to run. 34 felony convictions, one of which is rape. His comments of grabbing women by the private parts, his demeaning of people with disabilities, his demeaning of people who serve in the uniform of the American soldier, who fight for our freedoms. Where's the comparison? Where's the comparison when he mocks and says that Byron Donaldson, who's one of my colleagues in the Congress, who happens to be an African-American member of Congress from Florida, who's a Republican, last week at a forum, he sees him and recognizes him in the audience, and he says, Byron Donald, stand up so everybody can see you. He's one of the smart ones. The rest, not so much. Google it. It's and how do you still stand there and say, I might vote for him? You know, so this notion of reading only the top line, man, I wish I could bottle that, man. That was so powerful.
Yeah.
Don't just read the top line. Read the body.
She also added that the community is her only client. I love the fact, and what I would like for you all to go back and listen to her, I love her message that she sent out regarding foreign policies and the enemies, because trust me, we still have enemies that hate the United States because we are a free democracy. But I need for you all to go back and see and listen to what she said in the message. If you think she weak, go back and listen to how she articulated a message of hope to the American people, and then a message to the enemies that if you play with us, we will come back after you. So that's important for y'all to know, because even though America is our terrain and where we feel comfortable and free outside in the global world, we need a leader that's going to be taken serious and that's going to protect us and make sure that our veterans and our military is full force and ready to go against anybody.
And remember this, God made one race of people. We fools made the rest. God made a human race. We cannot keep dividing ourselves by race. We have to work together with everyone. People who want to do the right thing come in all shapes, all colors, all parties. And we've got to recognize how to work together. This black against white doesn't have to be the paradigm. Working together is where we need to be. There are a lot of good people that come in different shades. And you know the old saying, all skin folk ain't kin folk? We got to work together with the various races, various backgrounds, various faiths, because that is what America is made of. A little bit of all of us who want to do the right thing.
Introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. Right here?
Yes.
My name is Shannon May. I'm a post-bac from Xavier, but I was a psych grad when I was here, or psych major when I was here. And I think one of the main reasons that at least I see young people not voting is kind of a generational disconnect, in the sense of, it seems like a lot of times our generation will mobilize and be activists for things that it doesn't seem like it gets anywhere. You know, like we marched for our lives a few years ago, but there was a school shooting yesterday. Or we marched for Israel and Palestine. Like, a lot of kids couldn't graduate, but then Kamala said she's going to give more money to Israel. So it's like, you know, we don't like that. Or even marching for like immigration, but then she's also saying she's going to send people back down to the border as Border Patrol police officers. So I think that can be one kind of disconnect, is that especially in the black community, sometimes young people will speak up about things that affect us, and sometimes older generations will kind of like make us stay in a child's place or kind of make us be quiet, which it kind of confuses me, because you want us to, you know, mobilize and speak up and talk about things, but then it's like, but we're children, we don't have enough life experience, we don't know what we're talking about. But I kind of make the argument that we do, especially with social media, because we're so overexposed to things that a lot of people in y'all generation may not see. Like, we see the children dying in Gaza, we see the children dying or put in cages in the border. So I kind of see like that as a disconnect, and a huge factor into why young people don't vote, is because you want us to talk, until when we talk, it kind of threatens the status quo in a sense. So I guess what would...
We're happy to hear you today.
Huh? Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, but see, like, but we, like somebody said, here at Xavier, we have the ability to talk, but a lot of people in my community will say the same things that I'm saying, but they don't have the place to be here, or they don't have the time to be here. They don't have the, not to say the intellect, but they don't have the language to speak how I speak. So I speak on behalf of them, but I know that they're saying what I'm saying. So there's a huge disconnect, especially again in the black community, where I'll try to talk at home about these conversations, and I have elders be like, you don't know what you're talking about. But I do know what I'm talking about. Like, we see these things, and we see them on social media, and we see it happen in our communities. And so to hear sometimes some politicians be like, not y'all in particular, but hear some politicians be like, we want y'all to talk, but just don't talk too loud, basically. So
and I encourage you to keep talking.
Yeah,
Right?
but again, it gets too discouraging though. Like, how do we?
You keep talking through the discouragement, because I get silent sometimes too.
Yeah.
Nobody just taught me to shut up. I talk when I want to.
I don't
either. And do know this too. Here's another important factor. The change is not going to come in a TikTok video. It's going to take time. Like, the bus boycott was 381 days, where people committed to carpooling and walking to work. They didn't feel it in the pocket in 6 months. They didn't feel it in a year. It took us 381 days for them to say, y'all don't have to ride in the back of the bus. So take the mission and keep it going. Don't get weary. They expect us to get weary today. I've actually had one of the representatives in the House say on the microphone. I'm not worried if they boycott me the last 30 days. They don't expect us to go the distance. That's why I'm telling you, keep using your voice. Keep pushing it, because they expect us to get weary and stop. We're not stopping. We're not going back.
Can I also add that I think conversations like this are very important because I think, honestly, the values of the younger generation and the older generation are slightly different. I think that Democrats that are young are a little bit more progressive at times, and I think we can feel a little bit of distrust or feel a little bit of weariness voting Democrat all the time because we don't feel like our values necessarily entirely align with them. But I feel like here's an opportunity for that gap to be bridged, for y'all to like kind of hear what we're most concerned about, ways we're most impacted, because there's a lot of things that I feel older generation people don't really understand are important to us as young voters.
Do you think that we need to do this a little bit more in the community?
Yes.
Because radio has also changed. So is television. Today, big corporations on the radio stations, but back in my day, as I was growing up, in those days that I had mentors, it was all about the community. You knew where the meeting was. You heard the news at least once an hour. You knew who the radio person was, and you heard public service announcements almost at least 3 to 5 times a day. So the big corporations now that bought these radio stations and got 5 and 6 in the marketplace making all the money don't look like me and you. And I got folks that don't look like me and don't look like you that are telling me what black people listen to. But I woke up this way. And I lived it every day, so I don't need anybody. And I got in trouble several times by saying that. So what about doing these conversations with the folks that do make the decisions on your behalf in the community more often?
I think that's a great idea, and I think in addition to having these conversations more often, doing them in different spaces, right? So not at colleges where people may feel intimidated, but maybe at community centers where I'm after school playing basketball.
But you know what? I want to add something to that. But yeah, college is somewhere where I think that we definitely need to have it. Don't necessarily mean I got to have a room full of folks that are going to come in here, but I would love to hear Congressman Troy Carter's lesson plan.
Oh, of course.
On the air.
Right.
With everybody just listening and say, here's the class for the day, ladies and gentlemen, da-da-da-da, and broadcast it. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. I think colleges are spaces we should continue having them, but like I said, places outside expanded as well, because Gertown has community meetings twice a month.
I'm with you on that, but I'm just saying from a mass media standpoint, when Congressman Carter gonna say, boy, I didn't realize that, but you might say that you did. Back in the early 90s, there was a bill that was passed by a Democratic president who was Clinton, but I don't think that he realized what he was doing, and that was the communications bill of 1996? I think it was 96 or 98. That bill allowed corporations to then take away the price for FM stations. We had FM stations in our community. What we then had was a whole bunch of conservative radio talk show hosts that then got on the most powerful radio stations in every community all across the country that was downing everything that was liberal, democratic, or whatever, and it was all conservative talk. And that's where the conversation started, with conservative talk show hosts. You hear that every day now. Oh, this person's a talk show host, a conservative talk show host. We have more conservative talk show hosts on big media entities than any other place.
But on that note, we're fighting right now in this Congress, fighting to protect AM stations.
Right.
Because now there's an effort to
get rid of
AM
them.
Stations out of
Yes.
vehicles.
Yes.
To have them not standard operating parts of the radio. And we're fighting against that because why? A whole lot of reasons. But primarily, many of the stations that are owned by African Americans had to switch to AM band because they were blocked out of the FM band.
Right.
So now, because we have the blessing of WBOK, which gives us unfettered access to facts, they want to take that away. And we're fighting against that. So there's a lot of battles that are going on every single day that does not meet the naked eye. But know this, that every right that you enjoy, we're fighting to make sure you keep. Every right that we think you should have above what you have, we're fighting to make you have. We got 60 members of the Congressional Black Caucus that's fighting every day to make sure there's fairness among all the races, but primarily making sure that African Americans who have been under attack. That's a fact. They want to take away diversity, equity, and inclusion. One member said, why do you need it? What do you mean, why do you need it? You can't see the discrimination that's happened in academic centers, what's happened in banks and housing. It happens every single day. And who was it? One of the young ladies said something about y'all have Black History. We got 28 days out of a month. Every other month is 30 and 31. What are you talking about?
The shortest month of the year,
But
huh?
the reality is, none of these things would be necessary if the atrocities of slavery and discrimination had not happened. But guess what? It did.
Yeah.
And now we have to, black, white, green, blue, orange, Republican, Democrat, and other, have to acknowledge history as something that has happened. And if you want it to be better, do better.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a conversation I think we got to do and have a little bit more. I agree with our young folks who are making that. We got to take a radio break here. We'll take the radio break. We're going to come up with the last 30 minutes for all of our I'm saying for all of our folks that want to make comments or have questions, I'm going to ask that you please come up because this is going to be our final 30 minutes. So I'm going to walk out the way and let you all do the conversations with our guests. We'll be right back, folks.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a huge shout out to our teachers, school leaders, and students in NOLA Public Schools. We see you, we hear you, and we applaud your efforts. Be sure to tune in every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m. for Talk That NOLA Education.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Greetings, WBOK family. This is Jason Clark, host of United Way and You. Be sure to tune in next Thursday at 12 p.m. when we'll be speaking with Melanie Richardson, co-founder and executive director of Training Grounds, a United Way funded partner. The topic will be the We Play, We Connect Family Resource Hub. Please tune in if you're able. Until then, we only have one life to live, so live united.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Join me, Dr. Jaquil Ross of New Schools for New Orleans for Talk That NOLA Education. This Monday we'll be joined by Libby Bain from NSNO and Candace Frazier from Inspire NOLA Charter Schools to discuss the importance of teacher compensation. Be sure to tune in Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 12:30 a.m. Reality Check on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
All right, folks, welcome back. Conversation is great. We are live today at the UC, right here at Xavier University. Our topic of conversation today is about our folks that are saying, hey, look, you know, we want to know why young folks vote or they don't vote or what the issues are. So come on. What's your name, dear?
My name is Savannah Fitz, and I'm a senior political science major here at Xavier, the Xavier, because you know you guys came in here repping like this ain't my school. Okay. No, I'm just messing. So, really, generally, I feel like as of late, the two-party system hasn't really been satisfying me as an individual. I feel like we're not really heard. We have this option or this option. And I feel like although we do have like the Democratic National Convention and we do have, you know, these elections that are held beforehand, you know, before the actual presidential election to put someone in office, I feel like that kind of dissuades me almost from getting too involved because it's like I kind of really already know how it's going to go, especially from being from California as well. Like somebody from Colorado, hold on.
Okay, no.
So in California, there are 712 people to one representative, one elector. And in Wyoming, there's 195 people to one elector. That automatically means that their vote has more of a weight than mine does. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And if you look back at it, I feel like it's also kind of like an effect of slavery, the Three-Fifths Compromise and all of that stuff. And, oh, well, we're southern states, we don't have as many people. No, you do have as many people. They're just black. And that's what the problem is. So I feel like, in general, I feel dissuaded from really getting too involved. I mean, of course, I'm a political science major. I'm here. I am involved. But does my vote really have that much of a weight? Especially because I'm not from, a red state or a state where, again, my vote has as much power. Like, that's 4 times the power that a Colorado voter has over mine. And I just don't think that also makes sense. And then on top of that, I also wanted to say I did look into changing my voter registration real quick. I went outside. Okay. And I can't because I don't have a license here. So. You don't have to have a license here. What?
You gotta have it on paper though. You can't do it online.
You can't do it online.
You can do it on paper.
But you can do the paper ballot.
And all you need is your last name and social security number.
So I don't have to deregister to vote?
No, you do not.
It's automatic because you only vote at any time.
Oh, that's my girl.
And then also, Sade, I did want to tell you as well that I feel like a great event that we could have on Xavier's campus that would be pretty impactful is having like those pre-ballots that you get in the mail before you start to vote and the actual voting election day comes. I feel like it's important that we can go over that ballot, and say this is what you're voting for. This is proposition this is proposition this. And I feel like, especially in California, we have a lot of ads and stuff that say this is actually what you're voting for. However, I haven't really seen that too much down here.
Yeah, I
so
mail
anyway.
them out, so I'm going to send some to Dr. Shepard because I mail them out all the time. But what you're speaking about, like not having a voice or feeling like you don't have a voice or looking for better voting opportunities comes from the elections. Like
Correct.
during our last session, the suppression votes that we had, if we had more of us there, we could actually then do things like making voting available online. Right?
Correct.
That would never. I tried to add voting on Sunday, early voting on Sunday. They act like I was asking for $1 million. Just
Right.
adding it on Sunday, right? So if we want to, yes, souls to the polls. If we want to see those things change and feel like we have more of an effect, we still got to get them out of office. It's just really no other way at all. We have to have more of us voting. And then also with regard to elections, because he called me out in 2021. I've always been very involved in my community. I've always been very involved with campaigns. But he said to me in November of 2021, if you want change, you got to be about it. Run for
Correct.
office, right? You don't like who's there, be a part of it. Run for office.
Right.
When Senator Duplessis just walked up here, when he left his House seat, won his Senate seat, his House seat became available. Less than 9% turnout. And I heard over and over again, but look who's on the ballot. Well, that's who qualified. You want better to qualify than qualify. We can't have the double, you want more, but you don't want to be the one to go to do it.
Right.
You want to vote, but you don't like who's on the ballot. Well, that's who qualified to run. And from that stereotypical conversation, less than 9% turnout. We could have lost that seat to the only Republican running for that district.
Correct.
So we could have lost another voice in the House.
Can I say that? Also, please don't just vote for president. You need to be at all the elections. You need to, yes. Budget elections in the city, there is so much going on. Like, they expanded the Orleans Parish Jail because what? Were people that loud about it? I know Vote was there, and they were protesting and things like that. So I just want to remind y'all to be active in more elections than the presidential one.
And you told me you weren't gonna say nothing. Hold on one minute before we do this. I do want to I want to introduce, because he did come up,
and I'm glad that he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, our Senator Royce DePlessis, if you want to say a word or two before we go to our next person here.
Thank you, Gerard. First, I want to apologize for being late. We had a committee meeting in Baton Rouge this morning, pretty tense one that went longer than I anticipated. So, but I had to be there. I was honored to be there on behalf of the district that I represent, and we can talk about why I was there and what went on at this meeting, because I think it's directly connected to why we're here today, and that's around the importance of voting. I have a few thoughts that I would like to share. I know people have questions, but I just want to say something that I think is important. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and it's probably been said already several times with this panel that we are here assembled with. Let me say what I believe. The last speaker just made a comment about the importance of voter education. I believe a lot of people are frustrated and don't vote because they feel like they can't be happy with their options, and they feel like when they get to the ballot, they don't fully know what they're voting on. So out of fear of voting for something that they don't, that could be bad or harmful, the safe thing is to say, I'm just not going to vote at all. And the overwhelming majority, unfortunately, of people, I think, just feel like they don't have the right information, right? So I think that's at the heart of it, and young people in particular. And I think what has happened now is that it's almost kind of become like this sense of like rebellion or independence to say, you know what, I'm just going to not participate at all because I don't like what's going on. So my way of expressing my discontent with what's happening is to just not participate. So on one hand, I understand, or I believe that's kind of why we're here, but I'm also here to tell you why that's just such a bad way to continue. We have to disrupt that now. Yo, I just left a committee hearing that was so bad, so bad. Let me tell y'all what's going on. We have a democratically elected district attorney here in the parish of Orleans. Oh, this was Jude C. I don't even serve on the committee. But because there was nobody from New Orleans on the committee, I had to ask the Senate president just to participate, just so New Orleans could have a voice on the committee. Now, this is the committee that deals with a lot of things related to criminal justice. I'm not going to get into all of the details. He used to be the chairman of, I think you were on Jude's seat. Let me tell y'all. There's an agenda right now to essentially undo the power of the voters at the state of Louisiana by saying when they don't agree with what a district attorney has, a policy that the district attorney has exercised under their constitutionally guaranteed rights, that the governor or some Senate committee can step in and remove them. What they did in Florida. That's what's going on right now. And we had the first committee hearing on it today. All right? So for us to not participate, we're literally choosing to give up our power. We're choosing to give away our power. I just wanted to share that with y'all. I got a, yeah.
I heard you on the radio. And I'm glad you're late today because you needed to be there. And that's a perfect example of us showing up. Now, that's not his committee, and we don't have to be here today. But we're here because we care about you. We want to dispel the fake news that's out there. That's a good application of fake news. The guy that started it was lying. But this is real. The fake news that we see. Senator Duplessis going and inserting himself at that table offered a sense of honesty and intellectual power to push back against what isn't true. Senator Duplessis rolled out a series of other instances in other parishes that they didn't care about, that were greater than what this district attorney had done. And his question was, why? What's different? Why are you choosing to single out this African American DA in Orleans Parish when you didn't do it in other parishes? If he wasn't at the table, that question would have been asked. The media would not have had that. So we got to stay at the table. And to further on his comment, which he's spot on, and I say this often, when you don't vote, you voted for the worst choice on the ballot.
That's right. That's right.
When you stay home, you just voted for the worst person. So whatever difference you might have with Kamala Harris,
You're going to have some differences.
and we will, because it's America. You don't agree with your mother, you don't agree with your father, you don't agree with your spouse, you don't agree with your classmates 100% of the time, but you still love them, and you still work with them. You will never find a time. I love everybody up here, but we don't agree all the time. But they're my people, and I'm going to support them. And I'll take 7 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 8 out of 10, over 0 out of 0 every single time. And what you will get with the guy who wants to take away your rights is 0 out of 0. So, although no candidate may be perfect for you, but none of us are.
Hey,
we need to move on to get to our folks here that got questions.
Yeah, I wanted to address a student, something that was very critical.
Let him ask his question first. We'll come back.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Woodrow Parker. I'm from St. Mary Parish, Louisiana. I drove an hour and a half to be here to see this.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. One of the things that I like to see is this panel in a setting at Grambling University, but not only Grambling, Morgan City, St. Mary Parish. I know that's asking a lot, but I'm putting it on the table. The second part is there was a statement made earlier about water safety. I started a water program in 2008, 2009 here in Louisiana, recognized by John Bell Edwards. Let me tell you a small story. When it came to the water program being introduced, it was introduced by another group, not me. One of the things that I like to see is when you finish college graduates, not only think about running for office and getting civic engagement, but also applying for these state jobs. What's not happening, the top tier, when people like me that create something, it gets misconstrued. So what I'm saying is apply for those jobs. Apply for those top jobs within the state of Louisiana and other states. Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lillian Nero. I'm a junior social studies education major here at Xavier. And I believe one of the reasons that young people do not vote is because there is a lack of community and transgenerational communication going on. A lot of it is structured. It's like shame almost. Y'all ain't voting. Y'all ain't doing y'all part. We fought for this and y'all ain't taking it up. Y'all ain't teaching us. Y'all ain't engaging with us. Y'all ain't talking to us. Y'all have these panels at colleges, but what about the students down the street who ain't in school, like the young lady said earlier? What about going into the high schools, going into the middle schools, going to the elementary schools, getting the kids familiar with what political figures look like at a young age, knowing that they look like them? Starting all that very young. There is a lack of civics in school. We understand that there are a lot of reasons behind that. And like you say earlier, change does not come in a TikTok video, does not come easily. There's a lot of stuff going on behind that, but still, we can all engage. We can all have a conversation. Like this panel right here, having young people up here, I'm very happy. Because at first, I'm like, I'm not about to listen to a whole bunch of people older than me telling me why we not voting. That's not right. You got to hear from us as well. So I appreciate y'all for being here. I hope that y'all have taken all of this, not with just a grain of salt, but like, we want to do our part. We do, but we just need some help. That's all.
So I got a question for you, real quick. If we do go and talk to that person that you're talking to that's down the street, and we bring them, you coming? All right, just make a show. Come on.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Choma. I'm from Maryland. I'm a freshman here at Xavier University, majoring in neuroscience on the pre-med track. And I'm also proud to say that this is my first time voting. And I've been sitting here for since the panel started, so I was just engaging in the conversation and discussions going on. And I wanted to ask, what do you guys suggest or recommend for me for voting? I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to get through the process. I just wanted to know your suggestions for me.
I would suggest you vote for Kamala Harris.
I mean, of course, no question there. But I'm just saying, how do I stay engaged, or how do I follow the voting process? I just need some guidance to that.
Okay, yeah. So I'll share my thoughts on it. I think it's healthy for you to start with maybe some of your peers, right? Whoever they might be, right? Or if it's, you know, people who you share a community with. So if there's other people who you live in the community with, you have a ballot that's an election coming up. We've been encouraged to vote for Kamala Harris. Start the conversation with some of your folks, just like you started with us, and just start to ask the questions, start the dialogue, right? And I think that will then spark more curiosity around what you like about a candidate, what you don't like about a candidate, or you can talk about certain issues, right? And I think that then goes more into the overall voter education piece. There's a lot of resources online, a lot of organizations who provide good resources on upcoming elections. There's usually 2 elections a year, spring and the fall, so you can kind of always just count on there being some election in the spring or in the fall, right? And I think it's good just to start to have conversations with other people and admit that, hey, you may not know everything there is to know about a particular candidate, about a particular issue.
Right.
And the more we have open dialogues about it, whether it's at a college or whether it's at a barbershop, whether it's at a church, I think that's healthy. The more we talk about it and just acknowledging that it's not perfect. I remember my first time voting. I was 18, presidential election. All I knew, it had to have been Bill Clinton. I'm pretty sure. That's all I knew, right? And I felt a level of like embarrassment and shame.
I feel like I have a lot of pressure going on.
Right, it was pressure, right? And I was like, because I don't really know what I'm voting on, you know? And the more you do it, just the more you get accustomed to it. So I don't think you're alone in feeling that way. But there's a lot of resources I can share with you. I'm happy to, all of us are happy to share with you on what's coming up on the ballot just to get more information.
Thank you.
And also, just to plug one more time, we said that there's the app Go Vote, GEAUX Vote. You all should download that app because it helps you to get more information. Okay, we going into the last very few minutes, so please let's make sure we could get in everyone quickly.
Hi everyone, my name is Jahari Town. I'm a junior here at Xavier. I am a public health major with an African American Diaspora Studies minor, and I am the president of the about to be established African American Diaspora Studies Club. So just one question that I have for you guys is, just one question that I have, and if this is not appropriate for the time, just let me know. I would love to talk to you guys after. How do you guys to make sure that Black Studies is not being taken away, not only at the middle school, elementary level, but at the collegiate level as well, as we know that these DEI efforts are being pulled from, especially all the red states. I'm from Chicago, so I don't know nothing about no education being pulled or nothing like that. So how will you guys, this is just for the congressman, how will you guys make sure that I can keep my department that just got instated less than a year ago?
Let's say that the African American Diaspora Studies program is the reason why we get this event.
Absolutely. Great question. Here's the answer. We've got to vote people that believe in what it's doing. Trust me, members of the Congressional Black Caucus are fighting every day to protect DEI, to fight to protect organizations like you're a part of. We have to have more people. We have to show up to vote because right now we're outnumbered. Hakeem Jeffries, if everything goes the way I expect it will be the first African American Speaker of the House of the United States Congress. And you can best believe, if that happens, the kind of things that you're talking about, and with Kamala Harris as president, there will be no taking away of funds for programs like this. The reverse is also true. If we lose, if Donald Trump wins, you can believe that we're going to be swimming upstream. But we've got the antidote to 2025. It's vote in 2024.
Okay, let's go ahead to this student. Go ahead,
Hey,
Caleb.
salutations, greetings, everybody. My name is Caleb. I'm also in the AADS program. I'm the first major of the Black Studies program here. Thank you. So I'm gonna keep my thing brief. So I don't get canceled, I will be voting for Kamala Harris. So just to keep that in mind. In addition to that, America has never worked for a certain group of people in the country, and that is poor people. Black people have been a major demographic of that group of people in America for a long time. And because this is an inherently capitalistic country, poor people don't get a lot of what they need, and a lot of poor people end up losing their lives or having to live in conditions that are not great for them. And when it comes to politicians, I have a deep dislike of politicians when they, one, don't work for poor people, and two, they allow corporations and people with money to influence their decisions that end up hurting poor people. Thank you. There was a study done, I forgot how many years ago, but there was a study done that said that essentially politicians about 80+% of the decisions they make are influenced by corporations and not their actual voters. So I want to know, as politicians, what do y'all do to combat those discrepancies when it comes to corporations and their influence on the political environment of the country?
I'll answer that question. Great question. Great
That's
question. I'm going to be
excellent.
super quick because it was directed to the politicians. I just got my my upcoming score from La B today. They gave me a heads up in terms of what it was going to be. I got my annual score. It's a 12.
What's La B?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Association
LABI, Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Now, I'm not trying to personalize anything or demonize anybody, but when allegations are made or suggestions are made about, who's taking money from this organization or who's influenced by what, that's one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, lobbying organization at the state capitol supposedly on behalf of business in our state, right? Now, I believe that I'm for economic development. I know I am. And they gave me a 12, right? And my question was going to be, is could it get any lower? Because I don't know where I'm ranking amongst the others, right? My thing is this: just because you give me a campaign contribution, don't mean I have to vote with you.
Okay, we have.
So I'm not. You can give me a campaign
Let us all
contribution.
get a quick
but I'm
minute
not
on that
voting
because
for you.
that's.
We have 2 minutes.
I have to do a half a second. Here's the reality: just because you wrote a check to somebody, doesn't mean that you're going to vote. That you're obligated to vote. Everybody writes checks.
Right.
The other part of what he just said, lobby, Louisiana Social Business Industry doesn't generally look like us.
Right.
And that score 12 is one that I'm proud of for you.
That's right.
Because if you had 100, that means you'd be voting against these people.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, we're going to head in to our last 2 people, and I hope we get to Cessful 5 because he wants to talk about volunteering for his organization, Youth Day NOLA. Okay.
Good evening, good, because me too. So, my name is Suere. I am a revolutionary. I do not take that lightly. I've been trained in this work from a child. And what I will absolutely say about my brother sitting right here, I don't get into electoral politics like that because we do grassroots liberation work. When I call him, he answers straight up. He gonna take the call, he gonna listen, and he takes criticism very, very well because he can tell you sometimes I be critical. And he listens though. He listens intently. So I don't consider him to be a politician. He's a servant leader in my eyes and in my heart, and I mean that. Our work is around infrastructure. One of the things I heard you say was about having this two policy system, right? What I will tell you is about an amazing sister who was my shero, Fanlou Hamer, said, I'm not doing that. We're going to start our own party. And when she did that, she got 49,000 votes. 49 with her own party. There's a fear for us to do that. When things are not working, we are afraid to step out, cut outside the lines, and do things that's for the betterment of us. One other things is this brother here, my first time meeting him, and I just said to him, one thing in my conversation without even meeting him is that I don't know no congressman who bring the bag back and split the bag with the people. And he never gave us a quarter. However, I know other people who earnestly benefited from that money, who are doing the work, not just anybody. People who deserve the money and was doing the work. Dr. Delaney is another one. This sister I heard from somebody else who was a state representative. These are people who I consider to be servant leaders. Really, really quick. I work with Dillon University. If y'all want to talk, come sign up with us after this is over.
Thank you so much. Okay, here we go, Seth.
Thank you. I'm Cessful 5. My comment is really on the topic is why don't young people, vote, and it's more solution based really. And I think we have to change the culture in our city and change it to a culture of education and a culture of voting. So when I go to Atlanta, the colleges, which are predominantly HBCUs, they visit the elementary schools and the middle schools and the high schools, and we don't have that here. So Congressman Carter, if you can bring the bag for voting and education in our city, I think that would help, because young people need to be encouraged, need to see what it's like to be on a college campus. The only way we see it is if their parents, encourage them to go to the next level. But I think if we create that culture, which also is a culture of education, a culture of voting, we'll have a different New Orleans in the future. Thank you.
You got one more thing.
Okay, I was going to say another important initiative is that Sess is one of the people who wants to make Katrina a local holiday. So I think that it's a state, local, baby, it could be federal, okay, holiday. And so I just wanted to say that and make sure that the people heard it. Also, he's with Youth Day NOLA, and they look for volunteers. So with all these students in the room, feel free.
All right, because we're pushing for time here, y'all, we are out of time. I want to take a time to say thank you to this fabulous lady, Dr. Shepard, all the great students that are in her class as well that attended, all of our great students from Dillard University, Southern University, that made the trip to the magnificent Xavier University. How about that? Dr. Tammy Singleton is also here today, so thank you all very much. To our esteemed panel, for each one of you, let's do it again. I want to thank each one of you for coming today, participating, because everybody participated. We're going to do it again, and I hope that you all will participate with us. We're going to do it at different locations, so we're going to make that a promise to you, all right? Thank you all for coming today. We're wrapping up right here on the radio. We'll do it again, y'all, so thank you for tuning in to WBOK.
And thank you, students.
I know the world won't give me nothing, so I gotta take it. And I know it's a way we can win. Why won't nobody say it? It don't matter where we from, suburbs or the slums. They don't wanna see us winning. They'd rather keep us down. Could have a world, but we don't know how. Don't let them tell you that your vote don't count.
First thing first, back in middle school when they taught us it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws. They just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do. Okay, y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't never even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Cause they the ones make child support laws. They the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. The State House make the court costs. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Cause y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't wanna tell you this, they want you to focus on the president. Now the third branch is the judicial, that's judges. They the reason why John Crawford and Trayvon ain't had justice. So when Meek Mill got locked up just for popping willies, we blame the judge and not the city when they let her get voted in, cause they ain't know who to vote against. Imagine life on the other side. Roads better, schools better, everybody get their license back, grocery store food better, custody of your kids back, homeless people get new shelters. If we gon' fix the U.S., we gotta start with them 2 letters, me and you. Somebody told us that the government wanna keep us broke, but the only reason why those people in the government is cause we ain't vote. And I ain't talking about the president, I'm talking about the ones we ain't know. See, they was gonna try to keep it low, but it's gonna hurt them when they see the polls.
I know the world won't give me nothing, so I gotta take it. And I know it's a way we can win. Why won't nobody say?
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Mount Hermon Baptist Church Hospitality presents The New Black Wall Street, Saturday, September 21st at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Have a chance to introduce your products and services to a captivating audience. Calling all small business owners, food vendors, authors, body care products, wellness boutiques, clothing merchandise, and much more at Mount Hermon Baptist Church, 3512 U.S. Highway 90 in Avondale. This event is free to the public. To become a vendor or for more information, contact 504-436-8062.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, an on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
This is Andronica Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Join me, Dr. Jaquil Ross of New Schools for New Orleans for Talk That, Noel Education. This Monday we'll be joined by Libby Bain from NSNO and Candace Frazier from Inspire NOLA Charter Schools to discuss the importance of teacher compensation. Be sure to tune in Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
This is the coach, Garrett Sashere. The Sports Report is coming up next on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK